crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after turning 40, I noticed my libido just wasn't what it used to be. That's when I reached out to Revive Health. Their team knew exactly what I needed, which is why today, my wife and I are both more satisfied than ever.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, text BOOST to 65555 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to schedule your appointment. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies. Text help for help. Text stop to cancel. See privacy policy at ReviveMen'sHealth.com/privacy policy. For info on how opt-in info will be used and terms and conditions at ReviveMen'sHealth.com/terms of use for terms of short code service.
Hey 12s, Steve Rabel here, voice of your Seattle Seahawks. The wait is over, and tickets are on sale now for our historic 50th season. This season is going to be legendary, with past, present, and future colliding at Lumen Field. Get your tickets today at Seahawks.com/tickets.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Kathan. President Trump with two phone calls today. First with Russia's President Putin and later with Ukraine's President Zelensky.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the president has grown frustrated with both Russian President Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky, and he's hoping the phone conversations will lead to progress towards a ceasefire. But she wouldn't say if President Trump would impose a new timeline to get it done.
He has made it clear to both sides that he wants to see a peaceful resolution and a ceasefire as soon as possible. But as for specifics on a timeline, I won't get ahead of the president.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
Former President Biden thanked well-wishers on social media today, hours after it was revealed he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Urologist Vipul Patel at the University of Central Florida.
I think his prognosis is really going to be dependent upon the genetics of the tumor. At 82, he's not in poor health, but obviously the therapies would have more effect on him potentially.
On a flight home from Italy, Vice President Vance questioned the former president's transparency about his health.
This is serious stuff. This is the guy who carries around the nuclear football for the world's largest nuclear arsenal. This is not child's play, and we can pray for good health, but also recognize that if you're not in good enough health to do the job, you shouldn't be doing the job.
House Speaker Johnson wants a vote by Thursday on the Trump budget bill that was sent through a committee. Many hardline conservatives have yet to back it. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns is on Capitol Hill.
It extends those Trump tax cuts that were passed in his first term and makes those permanent, and includes some campaign promises to eliminate taxes on tips and overtime pay. But it cuts billions of dollars in federal spending to Medicaid, food stamps, and clean energy subsidies.
Well, CBS's Jim Krasula tells us millions of people have an eye on the forecast just days after deadly storms.
Strong storms, including tornadoes, are expected to target the central and southern plains with the highest risk of severe weather across eastern Oklahoma. Residents of the hills of eastern Kentucky are dealing with the aftermath of deadly weekend storms. These people live in hard-hit Corbin, Kentucky.
I'm going to be out here for weeks and months trying to help build back lives of people that I love, that I care about.
We're all blessed just to be alive.
Severe storms claimed at least 27 lives in Missouri and Kentucky.
Well, Netflix has thrown Sesame Street a safety net with a new streaming deal. New episodes will run on Netflix, PBS, and the PBS Kids app on the same day starting in the fall. Checking Wall Street, right now the Dow is down 18 points. The S&P is down 15. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A mass shooting in Seattle, details coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. In Maple Valley, a crash has been moved to the shoulder on northbound State Route 169 at Southeast 231st Street. Watch out for the tow truck. The crash has been cleared from southbound State Route 9 and State Route 522. Really just a slight backup right now along Brightwater Park. A lot of what you're dealing with, heavy volumes and rain. Travel time Everett to Seattle, 1 hour, almost double the usual. Federal Way to Seattle, 1 hour and 5 minutes. Renton to Bellevue, 50. Traffic brought to you by Lake Washington Windows and Doors, with commitment that has earned over 100 reviews with a 4.9-star average rating. Lake Washington Windows and Doors.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle police are searching for a motive and suspects in a shooting that left 3 people dead and 1 injured in Pioneer Square early Saturday. This witness tells KIRO 7 TV.
I just heard rapid gunshot fires. Like it just happened rapidly. Brrr, bah, 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 bah. And then it was over just like that.
The 4th victim is hospitalized. In Federal Way, an 18-year-old is dead and an 11-year-old injured after a shooting. KIRO 7 TV's Deborah Horn with more on that.
Early Saturday morning, neighbors say they could hear arguing, then rapid gunfire. This neighbor says she came out once the shooting stopped. The teenager then still alive.
He was saying, "Hey, I can't breathe."
Cell phone video shows Federal Way police arriving. They ran over to the man. Medics soon followed.
Pumping and pumping and pumping for 20 minutes, trying CPR.
By then, it emerged a stray bullet had struck an 11-year-old neighbor as he lay in bed.
The child is hospitalized. The shooter is on the loose. Starting today, traffic will be restricted outside Seattle's Washington Middle School. This follows the death of a student in March. The 12-year-old girl was struck and killed by an unoccupied car that rolled down a hill. KIRO 7 TV reports road crews will block South Weller Street and 20th Place South between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. on school days. Buses and pedestrians will be allowed through. Yesterday marked 45 years since the deadly eruption of Mount St. Helens. Diane Murphy was hit by a car. Diane Murphy jumped in a car with her daughter, was what I was trying to say, to escape the falling ash.
As I started off, it came sheeting down. The black cloud came over. It became as black as night. It was pouring down so hard you couldn't see the roads.
57 people died. The FAA is investigating after 2 Alaska Airlines planes clipped wings while being pushed on the tarmac at SeaTac Saturday. Alaska tells KIRO 7 TV ground tugs were moving the jets at the time. No one injured, but passengers had to switch to new planes. The Mariners completed a clean sweep of the San Diego Padres over the weekend, allowing only 3 total runs in the entire series.
Here's the 1-2. Strike 3 called freeze 'em.
M's pitcher Brian Wu dominating yesterday's 6-1 win at Petco Park. The M's take on the White Sox in Chicago this afternoon. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy today with highs around 60. It is 50 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Good morning, everybody. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Let's see what day it is. Happy Monday, May 19th. Ursula, good morning.
Good morning. You are chipper for someone who had to do a lot of flying around over the weekend.
I was flying. I'm glad you brought up flying. Lately, you've been saying things today that's been really sparking stories out of me. This is a message towards SCA. This is a message towards all of us. This is a message for we need a new airport. And the reason why I'm bringing that up because SCA, look, they trying.
Yes.
A lot of construction.
It's very crowded.
You all know it's crowded. You know where it is. I ain't got to tell you proximity of where it's going on. But Ursula, I'm tired of going to every other airport that I go to. Every airport feels like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. Oh my gosh, this is so nice. Sometimes I feel like SCA is the Cabrini Green of airports.
Oh, no. You just ruined
You gonna start
Perry
driving down to
Cooper's day.
PDX?
Wait.
I'm just telling y'all, man. I go to the bathrooms.
It's in the midst of a remodel. Okay, it's going to get better.
You ever had that family member
Yes.
or that friend, every time you go to their house, something is under construction?
Yes. Yes, and it's going to be for a while because
Sorry,
remember
Coop. I'm sorry,
they
Coop.
they scrapped the whole process that went for years trying to site a new airport.
Coop
So
gonna be
we're
mad at
starting
me.
from scratch. But in any case, hey, coming up at 9:47, we're going to talk about something fun because is there a generation that is more guilty than other generations of lying on job applications? So we're going to get into that, but we've got a lot to get to right now in our top stories.
Okay, Ursula. Let's get to your top stories of the day. Brought to you by Bathfitter Northwest.
Seattle police are looking for a gunman who opened fire early Saturday morning in Pioneer Square, killing 3 people and critically injuring a 4th person. This all happened just after 1 a.m. on Washington Street and 2nd Avenue South. Police got to the scene. They found 2 men and a woman dead from gunshot wounds, all the victims in their 20s. This man tells KIRO 7 TV he heard the gunshots.
I just heard rapid gunshot fires. Like it just happened rapidly. Brrr, bah, 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 bah. And then it was over just like that.
Police haven't released any suspect information. They've also not made any arrests. Detective Brian Pritchard with SPD tells King 5 News this shooting actually broke a long streak of days without a homicide in the city.
Yesterday was 42 days without a death, in Seattle and until today. So we are aware of a lot of these things that are going on, the shootings and things like this. And as far as extra patrols in areas, we tend to do that.
Now, Gee, you know that this spot where Saturday morning's shooting occurred has been the scene of several homicides in recent years. Yep. A 40-year-old man was killed on January 25th. That was actually the city's first homicide of the year. That was right around that area. Then the Seattle Times reports 2 men were shot on May 10th after a fight outside of a nightclub in the area. And that was just less than a week after 2 other men were stabbed at another nearby nightclub.
This one really, not that everything doesn't get to us when we talk about these stories, Ursula, and you start off on Monday morning with these in your top stories. But this one, I do know the family of this young man, of one of the victims in this one. And this is a time where I just want to say this. Without knowing who did this, I do know how small Seattle can be. And there's probably a likelihood that people in the community will know who did this before law enforcement. There's also a possibility that whoever did this will probably come from a family that others do know. I'm sick all the way around, Ursula. I'm sick that this is continuing to happen. I'm sick of the same words that go around this topic. I shared with you too today. This morning, I almost want to talk about this, and I get afraid because sometimes I got to watch my words. So I'll start off. This problem that is happening, the mayor can't fix this. Seattle City Council can't fix this. Law enforcement can't fix this. This right here, this is an accountability thing. This right here is coming from years of lack of conflict resolution. It is coming from a lack of value of life. Mm-hmm. It's coming from, right now, retaliation. The way if someone is disrespected, they go through the extremes to match disrespect by taking of life. I said a thing when I was sitting down preparing for the show. Ursula, if I don't like me, I don't like you. Right? Simple as that. If I don't like me, I don't like you. Mm. If I don't value my life, I don't value your life. If I have no purpose in my life, I don't care if you have purpose in your life. If I don't care if I live or die, I don't care if you live or die. This all starts with I. So I know the same things are going to be said across the board. Oh, well, what about this? And what about poverty and this? Look, the Gee and Ursula Show, we are constantly talking about the root causes poverty and crime following poverty. We talk about, yes, money in pockets. This would really decrease crime. But as we know, and you know, Ursula, this isn't going to get solved overnight. So until then, we have to do something else. And what we have to do is quit talking about relying on law enforcement, relying on this, because right now we got Glock switches that are out here in these streets. And you hear the witness say, you heard, brrr. So what does that mean? That means the casualties can add up fast. 1 something in the morning, people in their 20s, it is continuing to happen. And there is a rhyme or reason. I'm tired of this happening. I am tired of knowing people that are connected to this. It is exhausting. It's exhausting, Ursula, because every time, Ursula, when you bring this in your top stories, I have to come up with something new. And so I think deep down, I say things different on the show than I say off the record.
And if I could encourage you to say some of the things that you say off the record, and you started by saying, I'm fearful of what I want to say.
Yeah.
And why are you fearful?
Because sometimes, Ursula, I'm no different than some of these politicians sometimes. Sometimes I just want to be positive. Sometimes I want to say things and I want to just try to get everybody and let's do better and all this kumbaya. And I'm afraid that if I say something, somebody's going to grab those words and that's going to be the soundbite. And the truth of the matter is right now we got parents that are not parenting their kids. We got parents, and for whatever reason, they might be working 3 and 4 jobs. They got to do that. Or maybe they themselves are finding their years. So a lot of these youth don't get paid attention to. A lot of these youth don't have value of life. A lot of families are just, there's broken situations. And what's happening is you can just see it over and over and over again. And I am tired. And let me say the quiet part out loud. I'm tired of your top stories involving young black men every damn weekend. I'm sick of it. Again, the mayor can't fix this. Law enforcement can't fix this. Seattle City Council can't fix this. Us in the community, you got to fix this. And I'm sick and tired of it happening. And then the community knows who did it, but nobody wants to snitch. Mm-hmm. Amar Murphy Payne lost his life in broad daylight, and we still don't have answers here.
Even though there were witnesses at Garfield High School.
Yes. I apologize, y'all, for being emotional about this.
I don't want you to apologize because you have been holding back. And the fact that each and every time we do these stories, you know someone, you're connected to someone. And I mean, let's try to humanize some of the family members of one of the victims shared that he is affectionately known as Q. Mm-hmm. Young man in his 20s. For the past couple of years, he was lead instructor at Noir Luxe. It's a candle shop, right?
I know Karina, and I know Zach, who owned the candle shop. I mean, Ursula, we talking about, a lot of families, good families, everybody good. Like this family, this is a good family right here. And yeah, am I talking about this a little bit different because it kind of touches home a little bit? Yes, but
well, that's only natural.
I'm just, Ursula,
it's not a statistic. It is actually someone that you know, people who are close to the victims.
Yeah.
And when you say, sorry if I'm kind of trying to dig a little bit deeper, but when you say it starts within the community, within the black community, what are you specifically talking about?
I'm glad you said that because Chef says something. I want to tell you something. I think I've told you all the story. When baby G was younger, when my son was younger, I had this mentality, Ursula, that if a kid puts his hand on you, if they hit you, you hit them back. You hit them back. And so he got in trouble at school for doing just what dad told him to do. So when I go into the principal, and the principal was trying to tell me, hey, you that's not a good thing. And I told her, I don't care what you say. If a child puts his hand on my son, he's supposed to hit him back. He's supposed to be tough. that lady taught me something, because she said, you're an adult. These kids don't understand how to do that and apply that. So what you're doing is you're automatically letting them think that violence, in order when that happens, you respond with violence. I am thankful for that. That was at Stanislaus Elementary where I learned that. To this day, you want to talk about something? Okay, in the black community sometimes, that's what we do. We talk about just that. We talk about, hey, you can't don't let them disrespect you. Oh, when I see you again, it's on site, right? But
now add to the mix the easy access to guns.
Now you add easy access to guns. And by the way, when I was younger and I was a hothead, Ursula, if I would have had easy access to guns, I would be a part of this statistic as well. Oh. It didn't used to be like that. But it was that toughness. Like, Ursula, I don't want to be disrespected in front of you. So if you disrespect me in front of you when I was a young hothead, because, by the way, I wasn't always sane and calm, but there was a time in my life where I was a young hothead. Mm-hmm. I would respond because I don't want to feel disrespected. Right. And what I'm tired of, and by the way, I can't speak for other communities. I can only speak for black communities. My community that I've been in my whole life, I've been talking about guns and violence since the late 80s and 90s when I was a little kid, and I'm talking about it now. And it's the same. Before it was gang violence. Today is some gang violence. Sometimes it's not gang violence. Sometimes it's just reaction to disrespect. And it could be the mildest disrespect in the world. But we go from 0 to 100, and we got kids, we got parents, we got families with no conflict resolution skills. You disrespect me, we got people that will take your damn life. And I'm exhausted.
First of all, I want to say thank you for laying it out there and keeping it real. The other part is everything that you said, I think, is just so important and really only can be said by you on this show. The one area where I would disagree is that I think we all can still play a role. And yeah, we talk about it all the time, but I think what you said is the most important thing.
Yeah, I know. And you're right, Ursula. I hear that because on this show and others, we talk about, we bring up Seattle City Council. We bring up like, oh, we need more law enforcement. And we bring up, what about the mayor? And hold on, that's cool. But today,
it starts at home.
We having this real conversation.
Yeah.
So if we're going to have this real conversation, we got to quit worrying about hurting feelings.
Yep.
I got to quit worrying about what you think about what I said, or G is worried about people taking a soundbite. What I am saying is this stuff starts at the crib, starts at home. Some of y'all mamas and daddies need to quit twerking on damn Instagram, showing your booty all over the place, and get in here with these trenches with these kids. Period. It takes a village. And if mom and dad can't do it, if auntie and uncle can't do it, then the community needs to do it the way we used to. Because when I was growing up, when my mama and dad didn't give me a spanking, Jean next door gave me a spanking. Miss Moore across the street gave me a spanking. Back in the day, the neighborhood used to smack you. And we ain't getting no more of that. We got this whole isolation on social media where people just... all these kids is just running rapid, and I'm sick and tired of it. And the reason why I'm sick and tired of it, because when you open up the news, it's black kids. Come on now. I'm going to say the quiet part out loud.
3 lives snuffed out on a weekend when it was supposed to be just fun.
Can I ask you something, G? Because what you're trying to avoid saying is it's a cultural problem within the black community. But I kind of want to dig in on that, because what is the difference between a young man in my community who gets disrespected and a young man in a black community? And that goes back to gang culture. And gang culture in every single society, whether it's gangs of New York, Brazil, or in Compton, Watts, etc., gang culture arises when law enforcement refuses to solve problems within a community. It comes from depolicing. And so people believe they have to protect themselves. You get gang culture and
addressing crime because we need to address poverty. Y'all do that. Y'all hear me talk about law enforcement and all that. I ain't doing that today. I'm having the conversations on the air that I have with y'all behind the scenes and that I have in my house. And if y'all don't like what I say, then whatever. I'm saying this when I hear, and I was recently, the Amar Murphy Paynes of the world who are no longer here, and it happened a year ago, and we still don't know the answer to that. And we got families right now who still don't have justice for their families, and we just keep having this happen over and over again. So I'll let all of you all talk about all of the laws and all this. I am talking about what can happen right now, and what needs to happen right now. We need to grab our children. We need to have real deal conversations. We need to hold our cousins accountable. We need to hold our friends accountable. We need to hold, when you see somebody got locked up for a shooting and you see Billy get on social media and say, free my homie. Ain't freeing your homie. Your homie just committed murder. What are you talking about?
This is so important. Thank you, G. And we're going to continue this conversation because in the 10 o'clock hour, because you have connections to what happened over the weekend and you know some of the people involved, we're going to have a conversation at 10 o'clock.
We're going to bring on a bouncer who has been familiar with this specific area, that 2nd and Washington location, that Pioneer Square location. And Ursula, what we want to ask him, why is this continuing to happen? What are you seeing when you are there? What are you seeing? What advice do you have for parents and families that have loved ones that are going to these clubs? Let's get to the nitty gritty.
Yes.
So that happens at 10 o'clock. But up next, Ursula, President Joe Biden made an announcement yesterday. Ursula and I will weigh in honestly about that topic. Next, Gee and Ursula.
Why local news matters.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey is here.
So in April, we did a story on this rehab facility called Pushing Boundaries. They've helped thousands of people recovering from brain injuries on the brink of closing shop after months of dwindling donations. When just days later, they started getting donations and they raised $200,000 they needed thanks to our listeners to stay open.
KIRO News Radio.
We've got some great listeners out there.
On 97.3 FM. And download the KIRO News Radio app.
Celebrate 50 seasons of Seahawks football at Lumen Field and take your game day to the next level with premium hospitality and incredible views. Host a one-of-a-kind event in a private game day suite or get front row access with sideline and end zone field seats. For more on how to elevate your game day at Lumen Field, visit Seahawks.com/premium.
It started as a puddle.
Where?
In the shower.
Uh-oh.
Then the kitchen sink.
Started backing up?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Clogged up.
Right. No problem.
Beg your pardon?
There's no clog we can't clear.
You're Dan.
From Apollo Plumbing.
This is going to get pricey.
How about $83?
To clear my drain?
Apollo Plumbing clears main drains every day.
For $83?
$83 or it's free.
What's the catch?
No catch. We'll even do a camera inspection.
Why's that?
It's the best way to find the cause of your clog.
And it's included?
No extra charge. Truth is, we hate clogs.
I don't love them.
Seen them all.
Ew.
I promise, there's no clog Apollo can't clear.
Guaranteed.
83 or free.
Goodbye, slow drains.
All it takes is an accessible clean out.
And Apollo gets my drains draining again.
You call, we come, it's fixed.
My heroes.
Just doing our job.
Thank you, Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Summer is on everyone's mind, and many of us ladies, well, you men too, would like to get rid of that extra stubborn fat and address those areas of loose skin like around the waistline, chin, and upper arms. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without getting the results you were hoping for. Introducing ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. ProSculpt is minimally invasive, performed while you're fully awake, and it's gentle yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate and permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation, and for a limited time, get $250 off. Feel confident this summer with instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening that works for women and men too. ProSculpt.com.
Amanda here for Care Partners Senior Living. Our communities offer safe living spaces with medical professionals on site and ready to help. With locations throughout Washington and Arizona, you'll find a Care Partners community near you. Learn more at carepartnersliving.com.
When the heat's in 11,
cool AC would be heaven.
dayandnight.net.
Beat the rush.
Act now before summer,
Because that heat's a real bummer.
dayandnight.net.
This is the time to plan ahead so you stay cool this summer. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Now save up to $6,000 on qualifying cooling equipment.
dayandnight.net.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
We know finding a company to trust with your home is a big decision and one we look forward to earning with incredible service, top quality products, and lifetime warranties. Adrian here, owner of Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Our windows are feature rich with our sound package that reduces noise by 50%, clean glass technology, and added protection with our exclusive First Guard 3-layer security glass. Learn more about all of these features at lakewashingtonwindows.com. Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle police are investigating after 4 people were shot dead in the Pioneer Square neighborhood early Saturday. The 4th victim is hospitalized. No word on a motive or suspects. Starting today, there are new rules for private late-night clubs that operate in the city. CBS's Lindsay Sheldon says the city council recently passed an ordinance.
It requires lounges to be up to date on all city permits, staff at least 2 security guards on site, take steps to ensure people aren't bringing in weapons, and have video surveillance cameras. They'll also need a written safety plan and will need to allow police and other city enforcement officers inside during business hours. Businesses that don't follow these new rules could face fines.
There were 47 shootings connected to late-night venues last year. The judge in Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial is expected to decide whether to throw out a portion of last week's testimony from a witness who was called to confirm Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura was abused. CBS News legal contributor Carolina Polisi explains.
The judge is concerned that a lot of these now corroborating witnesses may be veering into hearsay gossip.
Combs denies all charges. Former President Joe Biden has revealed he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer. CBS's Willie James Inman.
Not only is this an aggressive form of this disease, it's also a form that will respond well to treatment, according to a statement from the former president's office, and his family is looking at those treatment options.
Four hardline Republican conservatives last night allowed a House Budget Committee to approve President Trump's package of tax breaks and spending cuts. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns.
A lot of conversations over the weekend between those hardliners and House Republican leaders trying to give them some assurances that the changes that they want could make their way into this bill.
President Trump today called Russian President Vladimir Putin after negotiators failed over the weekend to reach a ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war. Russia invaded Ukraine in February of 2022. Trump said during his campaign he would quickly end the war. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 77 points, NASDAQ down 56. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, be aware there is very realistic training involving a fire rig on the Ship Canal Bridge. That's going to take place until 1 this afternoon. Most of what you're dealing with, heavy volumes and rain. It has you slow across the board. Travel time Everett to Seattle, 1 hour, half an hour longer than usual. Federal Way to Seattle, 55 minutes, 15 longer. Renton to Bellevue, 42. That's 10 longer than typical. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking call Beacon. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies with highs around 60. It's 50 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. We sure appreciate you joining us on this Monday morning. And you just heard in Heather's newscast that yesterday, former President Joe Biden's office revealed that he has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. It has apparently spread to his bones. And now he and his family are reviewing treatment options. And Dr. Owais Tirani tells CBS News, this is an important reminder for men to get screened and get screened before it gets to this point.
I would hate to speculate. I will say, if prostate cancer is caught early, it is usually curable. This is obviously something that is more advanced stage. The fact that it is hormone sensitive, that is a bit of good news. That means that there are tools available.
And last week we were asking, and I think it was on our Agree to Disagree chef was asking, is this news? That because initially it was reported that there was a nodule found, and what was the significance of that? And we talked about the importance of screening and saying, hey, it is the former president, and it is about his health.
Right.
And now we find out it's really aggressive.
Right. First, I want to say this. My prayers go out to the President Biden, his family, Jill Biden. Cancer, as we know, has rocked this family, right?
Yes.
So I want to really give my respect and prayers first. Okay. Ursula, they lied. They flat out lied. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's rain. Don't tell me that you just found out that you just had prostate cancer. We talk about health care all the time. Are y'all trying to tell me that the President of the United States does not have supreme health care? Are you trying to tell me that coming up on the heels of a book that's getting ready to come out, you're going to tell me this entire time that they didn't know anything about prostate? No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it, Ursula. I think they lied. I think they've been covering this up for way too long. Again, and I say that with all due respect.
So the cover-up, I think, started long before this prostate cancer diagnosis.
Yep.
So, and we are now learning, not just because of the book, but more and more people are talking since he's no longer in office. But the idea that he was running again, given apparently what we're now finding out were signs of serious cognitive decline. And you and I had no clue.
No.
Most people in the media, and we were accused of a cover-up. But apparently, according to now these, a lot of them unnamed sources who spoke for this book, apparently there were 5 people running the country for much of his tenure. And he, at best, they say, was like a senior advisor versus actually functioning as president. And the book is called Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. And CNN's Jake Tapper is one of the authors. And one of the things they said was some of the first disturbing signs of Biden's diminished capacities were showing up as early as 2015. And many of the folks around him were saying, oh, it's just Joe. You know, Joe, he's prone to those gaffes. He's had a history of doing that. And again, I hate to even talk about this when he now has this very serious diagnosis.
Right.
But it's all coming at the same time. We're looking at, wait a minute. You know, everyone thought, oh my gosh, it was that debate in 2024 with Trump that all of a sudden we really saw how bad it was.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if these things are true, that all these folks were in on trying to basically hide from everybody how bad it really was, I mean, to me, that's just pure reckless.
It is. It is reckless.
And selfish.
And selfish. Absolutely. And I don't think, I'll tell you what I believe. I believe that Joe Biden and Jill Biden, I believe they knew about it. I don't believe that Kamala Harris knew. I don't believe that some of the people, you know, okay, wait.
Okay, I'm rolling my eyes because.
You think she knew?
Absolutely.
Really?
The cancer or the mental decline?
No.
Yeah, not cancer. I'm talking about mental decline.
No, I'm talking cancer.
Oh, no.
I'm talking, okay.
And I even think, I will say this, just knowing the little bit that I know, and please, doctors, fact check us, but with prostate cancer, and someone I love dearly is got recently checked and has to have a biopsy done. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I know that from year to year, it can be very different. And like if you're talking about an aggressive thing, it could have been something, hey, we're just going to check, your numbers are looking a little bit different. And then the next time you go in, because of his advanced age, it can have progressed. So I'm not willing to say that he lied about that.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're finding out so much evidence about what people were doing and they used the pandemic, the years of the pandemic, saying, well, you know, because of his age and because of the pandemic, we're going to kind of keep him out of the public eye. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people think the media was in cahoots, you know, trying to cover it. I mean, I would have wanted to report it 3 years ago.
How old is Joe Biden?
He's 80. Is it 82?
82. So y'all mean to tell me that the president of the United States at let's say he was 79 years old, 80 years old, that the physicians, his doctors, weren't on top of every single test for a 79, 80-year-old man? Now, he's 82 now.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about then.
Oh, yeah. But I just explained, you know, with prostate cancer, sometimes you see some numbers. And again, I want to be fact-checked, but you see numbers where your numbers are going up, and then, you know, it could change dramatically.
Yeah.
I was just looking this up, actually, with Johns Hopkins, and get to that Gleason scale of 9 where he is at.
Yes.
It can progress rapidly from a lower stage in like 2 to 5 years, but typically to get to 9, it's like 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
And most men can have asymptomatic yet detectable cancer before it progresses to the point where it's noticed. But he's the president. Of course he's getting screenings.
Yes. So in that case, then, I think you're more likely right, Gee, that they even knew about that. And again, how does that do anybody good?
It didn't. It didn't do anybody good. It definitely didn't do this country any good. And I'm like I said, I don't know if I'm right, but in my gut, in my heart, I think that I am. And I think that they knew. I think they knew when he decided he was going to run again. I think that they knew, and I'm talking about cancer. I think I think that they knew up until they made the decision. When did they make the decision? Like May or June or something of last year?
Well, when Kamala Harris really had not enough time.
Right.
And the Democratic Party had not enough time to actually really figure out who was the best candidate.
Yeah. Coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show, Nick, what's generation lies more on job applications? Is it Gen Alpha? Is it Gen Z, Gen X, or baby boomers? Well, Nick, hold that thought. We're gonna talk about that next. Gee Ursula.
Why local news matters.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey is here.
So in April, we did a story on this rehab facility called Pushing Boundaries. They've helped thousands of people recovering from brain injuries on the brink of closing shop after months of dwindling donations. And just days later, they started getting donations and they raised $200,000 they needed thanks to our listeners to stay open.
KIRO News Radio.
We've got some great listeners out there.
On 97.3 FM. And download the KIRO News Radio app.
Nobody should drink and drive because it's absolutely dangerous. DUI Heroes cares for their clients as people, individuals who have just made a mistake. DUI Heroes do not treat you like a criminal. Their clients will be heard and understood. They will be valued and they will be seen. DUI Heroes, your DUI defense specialist, DUIHeroes.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X-Fi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
If you want a dream bathroom without a humongous price tag, now's the time to call Bathfitter Northwest. Ursula Reutin here. I picked Bathfitter because they are the original one-day bath remodeler. They're a local family-owned business that's been around for 40 years. They own every step in the process to make sure you get the best quality product and the best value. Now get 0% interest for 24 months. Call the people I trust to do the job right, Bathfitter, or visit bathfitternw.com.
G. Scott here with former Seahawk Doug Baldwin. Tell us about Nourishing Champions.
We know the benefits for young people in sports, but we often don't think about the barriers. And one of those barriers is having proper nutrition. So Nourishing Champions, in partnership with Champions of Change and Safeway, is an effort to address those barriers so that our student athletes have what they need to excel both on the field and in the classroom.
High schools can apply for grants up to $25,000 from Nourishing Champions. Learn more at championsofchangefoundation.org/Nourishing Champions.
Start having fun. Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot. At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Good morning to all of you and happy Monday. Just so you all know, longtime Pioneer Square bouncer will join the show coming up at 10 o'clock because we're coming off the weekend. There was 3 people killed in Pioneer Square. We want to talk about this topic with a bouncer that works downtown. But right now, Ursula, we do need to talk. And we need to talk about which generation lies the most on their resume. So Career.io surveyed all of them. And here are the numbers. And we would love for you to text in if you agree to disagree. And, of course, we'll be weighing in here on the show. Ursula, 9% of baby boomers say, yeah, I've lied on the resume. 20% of Gen Xers say, yeah, I lied on the resume. 39% of millennials say, yeah, we lied on the resume. Now, Nick and his friends, Gen Z and all them, Ursula, 1 and 2, dang near, lie on a resume. 47% of Gen Z is lying. Now, Ursula, one thing I love about this topic, of all of us here in this studio, you are the one that used to go through the resumes and you used to hire and unfortunately used to fire too, but you used to go through these resumes.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on this?
I think there's only one generation that's fully telling the truth. And it's the latest generation.
We on the same. Look, I was going to tell Nick that in his ear. I'm with you. And I didn't even know where you was going to go.
Yeah.
Of all the generations, I'd argue that baby boomers lied the most. I mean, you didn't fact check it. Hey, I have a 4-year Harvard degree, and okay.
Well, you could fact check it. It just took a lot longer. You would have to check on everybody's references. You would have to, you couldn't just do a quick Google search.
Yeah.
You couldn't rely on AI to do this, that, or the other thing. But
you'd just be like, oh, you know Kevin? Great. Your resume looks awesome. You're in.
Ursula.
But here's my question for all of you.
What's that?
Because what do you consider? What's a lie? What's an embellishment? What's an enhancement? What's a lie?
Oh,
think about it. Because you could say, we always joke around and say, personally, I think stay-at-home mom is one of the hardest jobs that you could ever have, and you can call it domestic engineering. You know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can embellish and enhance what it is that you've actually done.
Right.
And then you could just flat out lie and say you graduated from some XYZ college that you never even stepped foot on.
Right.
So I think there's a big difference. But my general feeling is that a lot of people obviously try to make their resumes look much better than the actual truth.
I have an opinion, and then I get fact-checked. I'm not going to use their name. Somebody just text in. My opinion is in the Gen X generation, the number one lie told in Gen X, check this out, was that I am proficient at Excel. That is the biggest Look, I bet you somebody listening right now say, yeah, I said that too. I am proficient at Excel. And meanwhile, hey, can you help me with this? But there is a recruiter. I am a tech recruiter with 20 years experience. Hands down, Nick. Hands down, Gen Z are the ones lying on their applications and resumes. I work for a top sports apparel and footwear company, and we have to start doing way more thorough testing during candidate interviews because Gen Z candidates are using AI to change their resume for a specific job that they apply to.
It could be a growing trend, yeah.
I have never had so many candidates fail the technical interview ever.
Well, part of that reason, too, is because once you're older, you don't need to lie as much on your resume, right? You have an extensive background. 9% of boomers say they lie on their resumes. How many jobs are boomers applying for these days? I'm just curious. And by the way, this is a two-way street.
At this point.
Like, how many employers list on the job listing, competitive salary, meaning it's the least we can get away with, or we're like a family here, or flexible hours, which means we're going to call you in whenever we want you to be in.
Opportunities for advancement.
Yes. And the number one, the best we can do is this amount of money.
Oh.
This is all we can offer you.
Uh-huh.
That's a straight up lie.
This seems more like a list of the generations that have been caught lying on their resumes, because today's world, it feels like it's a lot harder to get away with lying with LinkedIn and all the technology you can profile people. I think back in the day, it was easier to get away with it. And boomers and older generations to this day still haven't fessed up that they did lie about their resumes.
425
I would agree with that.
text in. I burst out laughing at the Excel comment. Former Microsoft employee here. Y'all know Ursula.
Oh, totally. Check. Yep, I know all those things. It's like, oh, dear Lord, where can I rent a millennial?
Can you type 60 words? All right. Let's get serious for a second. But, coming up next is going to be a first for the Gee and Ursula Show, and I don't know why we haven't done this before. Longtime Pioneer Square bouncer will join our show, and we will talk about the scene during the mass shooting that happened over the weekend. We do all that next. Gee and Ursula.
KIRO Newsradio, winners of 3 2025 Regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey live in Linwood.
A bunch of tall trees in a wooded area just off of Alderwood Mall Parkway.
And we thank you.
We are the Northwest leading news station because of you, inspiring us every day to deliver the local news and stories you care about.
KIRO Newsradio on 97.3 FM.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Hartley Wilcox here from Wilcox Family Farms. A question we get asked a lot this time of year is, how do the hens stay warm when it's so cold out? Of course, we have nice barns to protect them from the rain, wind, and snow. But also, their feathers are like a down jacket, and if they need additional warmth, they will often snuggle together. And for those very cold days, we have heaters to keep them comfortable and happily laying eggs. Wilcox is committed to organic, humane practices that keep our hens healthy and help preserve the land. When you choose food from local family farmers like Wilcox, you support the local economy with jobs and promote environmental sustainability, making it possible for our family to keep on producing great eggs for another 100 years. Pick up Wilcox eggs at Costco, Marlene's, and Hagen's. And for a healthy snack on the go, grab some ready-to-eat, pre-peeled, hard-boiled eggs in a convenient to-go 2-pack. Wilcox Family Farms, locally fresh since 1909.
Hey folks, John Curley here. One of the best home comfort inventions of recent time, mini split systems. Now you can enjoy efficient heating and cooling while saving energy and reducing utility bills with personalized room comfort. Call my friends at Home Comfort Alliance for a free consultation, and for a limited time, get 18 months same as cash financing on all qualified systems. For all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo.
Your best source for local news.
Newly released police video shows the arrest of a 17-year-old.
KIRO Newsradio.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Guys, thinking about testosterone replacement therapy? Revive Men's Health can help you get started if you're ready to book your free T-check. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. That's Revive, REVIBE, menshealth.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. President Trump with phone calls today to Russia's Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's President Zelensky. Moscow says the Putin call lasted for 2 hours.
The White House says the president is weary and frustrated with both sides of the conflict. So much so that Vice President Vance says if he doesn't think Putin is serious about negotiating,
we're more than open to walking away.
He believes the president is saying to Putin,
if you're willing to stop the killing, the United States is willing to be a partner for peace. That's been the proposal to the Russians, to the Ukrainians, and frankly, to nations and other hotspots around the world.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
And Vice President Vance also suggested today that former President Biden needed to be more transparent about his health while in office.
You can separate the desire for him to have the right health outcome with the recognition that whether it was doctors or whether there were staffers around the former president, I don't think he was able to do a good job for the American people.
The comment follows word of Biden's prostate cancer diagnosis. CBS's Willie James Inman.
Not only is this an aggressive form of this disease, it's also a form that will respond well to treatment, according to a statement from the former president's office, and his family is looking at those treatment options.
Biden used social media today to thank well-wishers. House Speaker Johnson says he wants a vote on President Trump's budget bill by Thursday. CBS's Torian Small says some in the GOP ranks are still balking.
Quite a few members of the House Freedom Caucus met with leadership to discuss some of the problems that they had. The biggest one was the fact that spending cuts didn't go deep enough in the current reconciliation bill that was moving through.
Overseas, 5 aid trucks were allowed to enter Gaza today. The UN calls it a drop in the ocean.
It's 10 weeks since any food aid was allowed into the starving population in Gaza. The World Health Organization says food isn't the only vital supply being blocked.
People are dying from preventable diseases as medicines wait at the border.
WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus. Israel said it would begin to allow baby food into Gaza later today. Elaine Cobb, CBS News.
Well, forecasters say more storms could roll through parts of Kentucky where deadly tornadoes struck last week. Tina Carnes runs an organization that finds housing for people in eastern Kentucky. Now she needs a hand.
It's done a 180 on me. Yeah, so I need help right now. I've lost everything.
The biotech company Regeneron says it's buying 23andMe for $256 million. Wall Street, the Dow is up 139. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Seattle's police chief expected to talk about the latest mass shooting in the city. That story coming up. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. In Seattle, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 southbound at Boylston Avenue. You are backed up through the city, though it's not uncommon this time of day. Travel times finally starting to come down a bit after rain slowed the morning commute. Everett to Seattle, 44 minutes, 15 longer than usual. Federal Way to Seattle, 39 minutes, only 5 longer. Renton to Bellevue, 37, still about 10 longer than typical. Traffic brought to you by Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's Complete Auto with available financing for oil changes, brakes, tune-ups, wiper blades, and factory maintenance. Buc-ee's.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle police are investigating a deadly Pioneer Square neighborhood shooting. KIRO 7 TV's Samantha Lomi-Bao says it happened early Saturday at Washington Street and 2nd Avenue South.
This exact spot was the scene of a shooting that left 3 people dead and 1 person in the hospital fighting for their life.
I just heard rapid gunshot fires. Like it just happened rapidly. Brrr, bah, 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 bah. And then it was over just like that. And then before you know it.
The people I talked to say they're staying vigilant.
No word on a bone over suspects. SPD Chief Sean Barnes says he will speak about this at noon. We are sending a reporter. In Federal Way, an 18-year-old was shot dead during a fight with his ex-girlfriend, and an 11-year-old was struck and injured by a stray bullet as he lay in his own bed. This woman who lives in the apartment complex tells KIRO 7 TV she heard gunshots early Saturday.
Went to my bed, 5 minutes. Bam, bam. Bah, 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 bah. Like 20.
The child was taken to Harborview and is in stable condition. The suspect is on the loose. Family members of victims in 2 deadly MAX plane crashes say they're furious the Department of Justice might drop criminal charges against Boeing. Those crashes, blamed in part on a flight navigation system, killed 346 people 6 years ago. Yesterday marked 45 years since the deadly eruption of Mount St. Helens, and of the region's active volcanoes, it's still the most likely to erupt again, but it's hard to predict just when. Wes Thielen is at the Cascades Volcano Observatory.
All we can do is be prepared and get as much monitoring equipment out in advance of any unrest so that we can look for the earliest signs of unrest at any one of those volcanoes.
Remember Back to the Future when Doc fueled his time machine with garbage?
Wait a minute, what are you doing, Doc? I need fuel.
Well, that might not be so far-fetched. A new jet fuel research center planned in Everett may one day have you flying on planes powered by food scraps or even sewage instead of fossil fuel. The Everett Herald reports the facility just received a $10 million anonymous gift. Another $10 million is expected to come from the state. The center aims to open in Painfield by 2027. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies today with highs around 60. It's 55 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Good morning, everybody. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Monday, May 19th. By the way, I don't know if you all know this, or Ursula, if you know this, but you know it's Memorial Day weekend this weekend?
Yes, I do know that, but I can't believe it.
Okay. Just want to make sure you all know this.
Because it felt like January this morning.
Yeah. So I figured that out during the break. I text Lily. I'm like, hey, you mind,
Speaking of texts.
Yeah.
I haven't been mentioning the text line. 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. Also, we're on YouTube. In case you aren't watching the show, haven't checked us out.
Speaking of text, Ursula, can you clear up some things? Because a lot of people, a lot of first-time texters are texting us, disappointed with us, thinking that we knew.
Yeah, on the one hand, we have a first-time texter, and thank you, I believe it was Patty, who said that she was really disappointed that we jumped on the MAGA bandwagon because we were criticizing, and again, first of all, the devastating news for former President Joe Biden, finding out that he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer. I'll share some of the doctor text messages that we got at the end of the show about prostate cancer. I think it's just important for everyone to know. Yeah. But we had that, and then we have someone else saying, "Hey, you guys were ignoring all these, and you were part of the cover-up." I mean, I would have loved 3 years ago to say definitively, it's not just that he's 80 or 79, that he has, whatever XYZ that he has been diagnosed. We are not in a position to do that. We can say he's been, making a lot of gaffes. We're not seeing him. He's not having cabinet meetings. I mean, we can say all those things, but we're now finding out the great lengths that his own administration and his family went to try to hide it from everybody.
And by the way, we media, we don't have a secret camera to where we get to see things that you don't. You see what we see. We see the same things.
And when it became obvious during that debate, what did we do? We had people so mad at us, so many Democrats mad at us because we said it's obvious that he cannot run again.
Maybe that's some signs of the Gee Ursula Show where we can't win for losing.
Add one thing to there's a big cover up in the media crowd. First of all, this was in every newspaper and especially in right-wing media every day, 20 times a day. 70% of Americans said Biden was too old. Nobody asked Americans, do you think Biden has dementia? But 70% of us knew. Come on. It was extensively covered.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Ursula, we got a guest on the show.
We sure do.
What's new at 10?
So our top story this morning was the deadly shooting in Pioneer Square. 3 people killed, 1 person critically injured. Seattle police are still looking for the gunman in this case. And the question we have this hour is, how big of a problem is the security situation in Seattle's Pioneer Square neighborhood?
Right.
And so you have a friend who is an insider. Will Stowers is a longtime bouncer, and he's now owner of Keiki Legacy Group, which staffs 30 bouncers for clubs around the city. Good morning, Will.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, first of all, let's get your reaction to what happened early Saturday morning. It sounds like you were nearby.
One of my guards was nearby. We have a bar that we take care of in Pioneer Square, and normally we do a checklist of check on my group chat and make sure everybody's okay and checking in and checking out. And normally when stuff like this happens, we do like a road check, make sure everybody's okay, and eventually this happened. And I guess the result of this was fatal.
Will, you have some experience as you have been doing this a long time downtown Seattle. As a matter of fact, going back to 2021, I believe at that time someone died right in front of you. Is that correct?
Yes. The young gentleman was actually a bystander. He was just in the area running away while the shooting was happening. And another fellow bouncer of mine, I parked my vehicle right in front of the club. That's the club that we were working at. We were just getting off. And the gentleman fell over, and we assisted aid to him. And it was very chaotic that night. People were just running over each other, and police was fighting to get there, and yeah, it was very, very chaotic.
So So, Will, you've been doing this for a while, and you have seen a lot of, stuff that I've never seen before. Can you bring us into it and help us understand what can be better downtown to prevent these things from happening?
We need more security in the parking lots. A lot of the issues right now is in the parking lots. The clubs are closing down, or incidents are happening where groups are forced out the club, and one group will meet the other group in the parking lot, or eventually they'll meet somewhere else down the street. And we just need more security presence out there. Seattle PD is doing their best. I see them, their presence is more shown, but it's just more, we just need more security out there to assist them, to be more better eyes, and also for safety for people walking by, and just showing them where the exits are at. With that area in Pioneer Square, it's pretty locked up right there.
So, Will, you have, as a bouncer, you have a lot of experience that most party goers don't have. And what I mean by that is I would assume that sometimes you can feel something, you can feel the energy change before most people can feel that energy. Can you tell us what is some things that you notice where you're like, uh-oh, I can feel something happening? What are those things so maybe we can better understand?
It's first, it starts at the front door. When the vibe of the door, when we checking IDs, the people coming in, is the respect. So I tell my guys to show respect, smile, and when people coming in and out, they're going to have bad and negative energy, and everybody can feel that. When someone gets denied entry because their IDs are fake or they're expired, they're going to have some type of way, and we try to comfortably and be more like say sorry, you're denied entry, and it's just that's where the problems will be starting at, and the other people in the line will also start promotion. So it's just you got to be your attitude in the line and being more respectful. That's what you got to be, like a very good person at the front as a doorman.
So we are talking to Will, a longtime bouncer, and you own a company that staffs 30 bouncers for clubs around the city of Seattle. You all get to know some of the patrons and the people who are coming to these clubs. Can you see any sort of trends in terms of what ends up resulting in what we're seeing now with the violence, in particular in Pioneer Square?
It's the younger crowd I'm seeing more. I believe it's the 25 and under crowd that's experiencing the attitudes and the attention that's brought, especially with social media these days. People are just, there's no respect these days. People used to go to Pioneer Square to have fun. I used to remember when I was 21 and going to each bar, and there used to be fist fights here and there, but nobody's fighting these days. Nobody's fist fighting. Everybody's running into the parking lots or having guns concealed and pulling out quick. And it's just most of the other younger crowd. And we just need to focus to the parents, tell them, talk to their young ones, and tell them to be careful at night. Also, it's just the crowd you're going to, and mostly it's these hookah lounges that we're having and hip-hop nights that are kind of a shady areas, but it's kind of hard to even have an event in Seattle itself. It's because of the shooting problems that we're having.
Hey, Will, so you've been doing this for a long time, right? And like you said, when you were younger, 21 years old, and I agree with you, there were definitely more fist fights. Respect or disrespect would get met with, at worst, used to be some fist. And then now it's like the conflict resolution skills out the window, and we're going right to guns. So far, what is the big difference? Now, we in the media, we cover these stories, we talk about it, but you're in the trenches. What is the big difference in what you are seeing with party goers today than when you were first starting to be a bouncer?
I think it's just different. Like you said, social media was different back then. Nobody was posting fights back then. I think it was MySpace back then. Nobody was running to post videos of, oh, look, this guy did this here and there. And that's what these kids are doing. When fights are happening, everybody's pulling out phones, and we're too busy trying to break up fights and to find out who's who and separate groups when people are bystanders or in the way. And sometimes the people who are pulling out the phones are the ones who are the victims of it. And that's just the thing. And when we're trying to find out who the victims are or what's going on, none of these kids will speak up. That's most of the things that no one's going to speak up these days or report to police. It's more of a don't say thing, and I think it's just an attitude thing with these kids. Mm-hmm. And that's totally different from when I was younger.
This is Will Stowers, longtime bouncer in the city of Seattle. And first of all, I just want to say appreciate you joining us. And I know this affects you like it is affecting the community even more so since you get to know a lot of these folks. Are you guys checking for guns in these clubs?
Weapons is the main thing. That's why I encourage a lot of these when I go meet these club owners or established owners. It's the safest thing. We have a search team that you come out, your ID's checked. Once your ID's checked, you go through the process of a pat down, and also we search bags. A lot of these people get very clever at hiding weapons, so I have very experienced people searching for certain items that you're trying to conceal. Some of them are ex-military personnel that's very familiar with that, and if I assume that you're hiding something, I will find it.
Now, Will, there are some parents right now that are listening to this interview, and there are some parents that have youngsters under the age of 25. They want to go downtown with their friends. One thing I know as a parent, sometimes you can't control what your child does. Can you give us a list of things, if you can, of advice for parents who have kids under the age of 25 that are going to be coming downtown? What advice can you give these parents?
Speak to, I have a lot of friends that are parents to kids at 25. I receive text messages like early night, hey, Will, this is a picture of my daughter and her friends. They're going to be coming out. If you see them, can you make sure, they're okay? Stuff like that. You want to communicate let them know who are they going with. Who are their real friends? Sometimes they'll go with that certain friend and some in that group will disperse, and then the daughter is found at a different area. And I know a lot of people are saying that's too being, how do they call it, smothering, but, it's that parent instinct. And I get that feeling every Sunday morning when I see a Facebook page or a post of somebody, a fatal shooting, and that's somebody I know. And this town is very small, and we just need to reach out to our kids and be more communicative and get to know who their friends are before they leave that door, before they even send that text message to you. Find out trying to be a little bit nosy, It's getting to that point.
If right now, if you were to, because I'm sure the city leaders listen to our show as well, and they always try to come up with something to help, especially with nightlife and help for safety. If you can give a rule downtown Seattle for if there is a club open, for how many bouncers that each club should have, how many would you say that each club should have to have a nightlife?
I would say a good solid 14 or 15 guys. You're going to have a good search team, which they're going to be the ones making sure they're going to be the front line, searching for weapons at the front line, and then you're going to have your additional guards inside to help break up and remove people. That's for the safety of it. I think that's a good amount.
But Will, that sounds like a good amount. But normally, what do clubs have?
Right,
like a couple. I'm gonna guess.
How many does a club usually have?
Usually about 10. Some even staff because of some clubs they go by their how you say it, their square footage of the place.
Sure.
So they'll about 6 guards. Because I've seen the lowest, and I tell them at least 10 or a little bit more than that. You're going to need more to help with crowd control.
Will, I want you to listen to an interview, an excerpt from an interview that Seattle's Morning News did with someone from the King County Prosecutor's Office. It's Gary Ernsdorf with the office, and he was asked, why are so many kids and young adults getting guns that they shouldn't have access to? And this is what he said.
Well, another concerning trend we're seeing is groups of mostly younger males going out and targeting vehicles that they think might have a gun inside. And so they're, if you have a pickup truck with a bumper sticker on the back that says gun control means using both hands, and you park outside a bar where you can't take your firearm into the bar, that's the kind of vehicle they're targeting. So they're going out on these vehicle prowl sprees, prowling, a dozen or more vehicles, and they're getting 2 or 3 or 4 guns in one night that they then go on to use in violent events.
And in the wake of what happened this weekend and what you see on a daily basis, I mean, the guns are so prevalent among the young people today.
I mean, yeah, I would agree with what he's saying because at certain times somebody that's carrying will forget that they're carrying sometimes, and they'll walk up and we'll pat them down, like we'll notice, like, oh, there's something, you have something in your pocket or something's concealed here. And oh, let me go back and put it in my vehicle. The body language already, everybody can see him walking towards the parking lot and just the demeanor of him. So everybody's seeing what he's doing. So everybody knows what's happening at the front line. So I do agree that some weapons are in vehicles and just because of that. And there are bars that lack that. They just check IDs but not the physical persons.
Will, we appreciate your time, and there's a lot of people in our text line that really appreciate you coming on here and giving us information because, as a matter of fact, I don't think our listeners got an opportunity to hear because we have parents that have 25 and under year olds, and they're going to be going out, and so for you to give them that advice, we really appreciate your time, Will.
Much enough. Thank you, G.
All right. Hey, that is Will Stowers, longtime Pioneer Square bouncer. Really came on the Gee and Ursula Show to really give us another look of what's going on sometimes in Seattle nightlife. Hey, coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show, it has been made illegal to neglect your aging parents. We'll discuss that next. Gee and Ursula.
This hour is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington.
Why local news matters.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey is here.
So in April, we did a story on this rehab facility called Pushing Boundaries. They've helped thousands of people recovering from brain injuries on the brink of closing shop after months of dwindling donations. When just days later, they started getting donations and they raised $200,000 they needed thanks to our listeners to stay open.
KIRO News Radio.
We've got some great listeners out there.
On 97.3 FM. And download the KIRO News Radio app.
Jim Singletary here, Chief Roof Nerd at RoofSmart, where we're not afraid to tell you no. Looking for a roofing company that'll do cheap, fast work and just cover up the problem? No, that's not us. Want a quick quote without a real inspection? Nope. Just want a price without knowing your options? Not happening. Look, we don't want to tell you no, but if saying yes means cut corners, bad results, or wasted money, we won't do it. Period. And here's the deal. Seattle gets 150 rainy days a year. That's not wait and see weather, it's call RoofSmart now weather. We say no to leaky roofs, sloppy work, and bad estimates, and yes to thorough inspections, accurate quotes, and top quality work that actually lasts. So if you want an honest roofer who's not afraid to say no to bad work, call RoofSmart today at 206-487-4877 or visit GetRoofSmart.com. That's 206-487-4877 or GetRoofSmart.com.
The
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs.
Picking up! Oscar! This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
If you're thinking about renovating an attic, spending more time in your sunroom, or building onto your home, a Carrier ductless unit is the perfect solution for climate control. It's efficient, quiet, and incredibly flexible when it comes to installation because there's no ductwork required. It's just one more way we're making your home totally comfortable.
Your local Carrier heating and cooling dealer will improve your home's comfort, air quality, and efficiency. Visit CarrierNorthwest.com to find the expert near you. Carrier, turn to the experts.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with Shannon O'Kelly, President and CEO of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy, inviting you to come work with IRG. And Shannon, what kind of staff are you looking for at IRG?
Brock, we're looking for all kinds of clinical staff, physical therapists, occupational therapists, athletic trainers, certified occupational therapy technicians, physical therapy assistants, you name it on the clinical side. We are looking for those folks. But we are really looking for folks that want to come to an organization that want to be part of our culture and change the culture and work with us to provide the best care and service we can to our patients, our team, and our community. So those clinical people out there, we're looking for you. We also provide advanced certification. We want to provide you mentorship. We want you to grow personally and professionally here at IRG.
With over 40 clinics throughout the Pacific Northwest, you've got the opportunity to work in the city you want. Just head over to irgpt.com/careers. That's irgpt.com/careers.
I'm Macy House with Baird Global Investment Banking. In today's markets, global financial capabilities aren't worth much without personal attention to your priorities. Baird Banking, Research, and Private Equity professionals are located across 3 continents, sharing more than investment expertise. As employee owners of our firm, we all have a personal stake in your success, here in the Pacific Northwest and around the world. Discover the Baird difference. Visit rwbaird.com/Seattle.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
When the heat's in 11,
Cool AC would be heaven.
dayandnight.net.
Beat the rush.
Act now before summer.
Because that heat's a real bummer.
dayandnight.net.
This is the time to plan ahead so you stay cool this summer. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Now save $50 off our pre-summer AC tune-up.
dayandnight.net. If it's time for a new bath, go with a name you can trust, Bathfitter Northwest. Bathfitter is the original one-day bath remodeler. Now get 0% interest for 24 months. Call the people I trust to do the job right, Bathfitter, or visit bathfitternw.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle's police chief is expected to talk shortly about a mass shooting that left 3 people dead and 1 injured. It happened in the Pioneer Square neighborhood early Saturday. No word on a motive or suspects. Starting today, there are new rules for private after-hours clubs that operate in Seattle. It's an effort to curb violence, like the deadly shooting at a Rainier Beach hookah lounge earlier this year. At the time, City Council member Mark Solomon said,
I am tired of adding another name to the list of people who have died at these establishments.
Under the rules, clubs will need at least 2 security guards and video surveillance to operate. And starting today, there are changes for Washington Middle School after a child was hit and killed by a car in March. More from KIRO 7 TV's Jason Sloss.
Seattle Department of Transportation will close the street in front of the school to most traffic for most of the day. Bright orange and white barricades will go up on both ends of 20th Place South. The street will close down to parent drop-offs. Only buses and people walking or on bikes will be allowed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekdays.
Former President Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. CBS's Willie James Inman.
In a statement from his team, they're essentially saying that this is treatable, that they can treat this cancer, and that the former president is evaluating his options with his family and his doctor.
President Trump holds a highly anticipated phone call with Russian President Putin to discuss ending the war in Ukraine.
The White House says the president is weary and frustrated with both sides of the conflict. So much so that Vice President Vance says if he doesn't think Putin is serious about negotiating,
we're more than open to walking away.
He believes the president is saying to Putin,
if you're willing to stop the killing, the United States is willing to be a partner for peace. That's been the proposal to the Russians, to the Ukrainians, and frankly, to nations and other hotspots around the world.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
4 hardline Republican conservatives last night allowed a House Budget Committee to approve President Trump's big, beautiful bill. The package includes tax breaks and spending cuts to programs like Medicaid. On Wall Street, the Dow was up 159 points, NASDAQ ahead about 4. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk in Seattle, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 southbound at Boylston Avenue. You're backed up through the city, though again, that's not uncommon this time of day. Be aware there's also a very realistic training involving a fire break on the Ship Canal Bridge. That's expected to continue until about 1 this afternoon. Travel times nearly normal after a morning of rain delays. Travel time Federal Way to Seattle 36 minutes, only 5 longer than usual. Renton to Bellevue 24, about 5 longer. Everett to Seattle 27, just about on target. Traffic brought to you by ProSculpt, the one-day permanent fat loss and skin tightening solution for men and women offered by New Skin Med Spa in Bellevue, ProSculpt.com. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies with highs around 60. It is 55 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And this is a question that is going to affect a lot of you who are listening right now or who are watching us on YouTube. As adults, what do we owe our aging parents? They raised us, and now it's our turn as they need more help. So what does that look like? Are we responsible to help them with their housing? Or maybe it's money, or maybe it's, making sure that we visit them on a weekly basis. So we bring this up because there are actually places around the world where you can get in legal trouble if you don't provide enough support. Case in point, in China, adult children must visit their parents or potentially face fines or jail time thanks to an elderly rights law. And in Singapore, they've got a Maintenance of Parents Act that legally requires adult children to support parents over 60 financially. Okay, now you're like, okay, those are other countries. What about this country? Actually, in this country, Pennsylvania is a state where there is a filial responsibility law. And that means you, as an adult child, can be financially liable if your parents have unpaid medical and long-term care expenses, unless you can prove that they are subject to abuse, neglect, or a gambling problem. So, this is an important conversation to have. We have these conversations about aging parents quite often, or not just aging parents, but all of us are getting up there. Yeah. I've got a big milestone coming up this year, and it's something that I think about too. And I joke around with our adult kids. It's like, hey, we're going to have it all set up for you because of what I just went through with my parents. It's like, I don't want that to be a repeat for my own kids. But what do we owe our elderly parents?
A lot. And you're getting pause from me right now.
I can tell your wheels are spinning right now.
Yeah. Full transparency. I just don't have the best relationship with my mom. Period.
Do you wish it were different?
Sure, but it's been 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anything different. This is why I don't like Mother's Day. This is why it is like Mother's Day is a really hard one. Because sometimes I envy and I see relationships. And by the way, I'm not putting this on my mom. I'll put some of this on me too. But I also say, the root causes for my relationship being what it is with my mom is you guys got to remember, I went to military school at 11 years old. So 11 years old was the last time I lived at home.
Did you feel like that was an abandonment, or did you feel like that was something that really served you well?
Well, it did serve me well. I owe my life to military school. My foundation and everything that I'm about today is because of that, right? Who I lived with, culturally, understanding different cultures and understanding accountability and being punctual and being on time and leadership skills and conflict resolution skills. There's a lot of things I owe to that. But through counseling, I have talked about and finally brought it out how much of a resentment that I had and how much competition and what that did. Like, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you. And I found out that in my life, and by the way, this topic, I apologize that it's going this way. In my life, I'm going to show you my whole life. Right? And so in military school, I'm going to show you. And even later in life, I'm going to show you. And so because of that constant of that has really played in. So anyway, back to the topic. Yes, I do believe kids owe their parents love and support as they get older. I don't know what that looks like for me.
So first of all, thank you for your honesty, man. You are just throwing out truth bombs today. And I just really appreciate that. And I know that even though you're like, okay, this is a difficult topic, I know that you're speaking to a lot of people who also have challenging relationships with parents. My parents are no longer here. I did have good relationships with them, not problem-free relationships, mind you, but we stayed close to the end.
Yeah.
And it is a difficult thing to navigate because you never feel, I never felt like I could do enough. And yet I also at times felt like I was doing way too much.
Yeah.
And the number one thing I know that you owe is for your adult parents, and the number one thing that they want is respect. And I know that that's the first and foremost thing. But I think it is something that people struggle with. Like, especially now that people are living longer. Mm-hmm. We are living a lot longer. We've talked about the high expense included in assisted living or skilled nursing or a lot of these things that people need at the end of their lives if they are not able to live on their own. And I know that there are a lot of people who are struggling to try to figure out what is that balance. And I think that is an important thing, is to find that balance. Mm-hmm. Because you cannot lose, I guess, coming out of it, you cannot lose yourself as you try to help your parents navigate through those years. Mm-hmm. And the number one advice that I would give is it would be, we as those in our age, my age group, turning 60, I need to have these conversations. We need to have these conversations with our adult children now, not when we desperately need their help. We need to have a plan right now.
Right.
I'm sorry that I'm looking at you and like I want to give you a hug because I know this is like hitting you deep.
No, it's deep. The harshest things that's ever been done to me have been by my mom. The harshest things. Like I said, and by the way, I am not going to sit here and say that that I'm perfect, because I'm not. But tell you what, no, still today. No, I don't think any child. So someone a text came in and says parents should get what they gave. I don't know. And then, or sometimes, Ursula, off the record, you and I, we talk about my ability to forgive people, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of my problems, and you notice I say my problems because
I'm hearing you,
are because of because there's no healing there. So I still carry that burden. So
my wish for you, if you don't mind me sharing, my wish for you is that there can be, before your mom leaves this earth, I hope that there can be some healing.
I said exactly.
I know.
I said exactly that. I hope so too. Hope so too. All right. We'll do scenarios next. Gee and Ursula.
G. Scott here with former Seahawks Cliff Averill and Doug Baldwin. I heard you guys are having a celebrity pickleball tournament to raise money for Nourishing Champions. Why pickleball?
Pickleball is, obviously, it's a growing sport, but also just the community in Seattle, they've already welcomed it. The beautiful thing about this model is that we will actually be playing with community.
You know, we're excited about this pickleball tournament. It's all about bringing families together, but also, you know, you get to come out there and compete against myself, Doug, Michael Bennett, and we are the most competitive people. So regardless of how sorry Doug might be, he will be out there competing like it's a Super Bowl. And again, it's just all about bringing community together and having a great time, but all for a great cause and raising money for these grassroots organizations.
Come out and help me beat Cliff. Help me beat Cliff.
All right. This is going to be fun. Sign up for the Celebrity Pickleball Tournament, open to all skill levels. For details, go to championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball.
Hi, it's John Curley. You know, I've been a patient of Longevity Medical Clinic since 2009, and Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. You know what's amazing, Doctor? The feelings that you have after just a couple of months. You sleep better. Your strength and vitality, it is evident that it works. It's really a mindset, though, Dr. Mixon, because a lot of people, well, this is what's supposed to happen.
Let us help you be stronger, faster, leaner, smarter, sexier, but most important, happier. I'm less impressed by how many years I might live, but how much I live during my years. You know, the option is here. Nobody's going to make you go to Longevity. But the opportunity is there, and all you have to do is take advantage of it. I don't know why anybody would not want to do what we do.
And that's where Longevity Medical Clinic comes in. So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
Ivers has opened its new Clam Digger Cafe on Pier 54 in the new Seattle Waterfront Park. Order off the menu, featuring new shareables like pretzel and beer cheese bites, crab and shrimp empanadas, a fried clam po' boy, or Ivers margarita prawns. You can still get Ivers favorites, including fish and chips, calamari, Seattle's favorite clam chowder, grilled salmon, or halibut. Try Ivers' new Clam Digger Cafe on Pier 54. Details at ivers.com. Save on a 2-night getaway to beautiful Victoria, BC with the FRS Clipper Spring Sale. Travel car-free on the Clipper Fast Ferry and stay at a charming downtown hotel. Up to 20% off. Save during Clipper Spring Sale at frsclipper.com.
In the market for a new car? Go with the dealership I trust, Carter Subaru. Ursula Reutin here. We are repeat customers because at Carter Subaru, your drive always begins with savings. Right now, get the 2025 Forester with 3.9% financing for 48 months on approved credit. Shop with the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at their Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 5/31/25.
Hey 12s, Steve Rabel here, voice of your Seattle Seahawks. The wait is over and tickets are on sale now for our historic 50th season. This season is going to be legendary with past, present, and future colliding at Lumen Field. Get your tickets today at Seahawks.com/tickets.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back clear vision. They've performed over 80,000 successful lens replacement surgeries. At Sharp Vision, you'll get the best price combined with the best experience. Sharp-vision.com. That's sharp with an E, -vision.com.
John Curley here. Smart homeowners are upgrading heat pumps and air conditioners now before the summer heat wave with incredible rebates and discounts that'll save you up to $6,000. Home Comfort Alliance makes paying easy with 18 months, same as cash financing. Call Home Comfort Alliance today for a free quote and save up to $6,000. For your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, visit HomeComfortAlliance.com today. That's HomeComfortAlliance.com.
It is the Gee Ursula Show. Good morning, everybody. It is now time for scenarios.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
I went to surprise my husband during lunch at work the other day. I bought lunch and took it to eat with him. When I passed by the mailroom, something caught my eye. My husband was pulling himself away, it seemed like, from another woman. I stormed out and he followed me. We had an ugly conversation after that. He said nothing was going on between them. He swears nothing has happened. We have 2 young kids together. The problem here is that my husband works with my family's company. I quit to stay home with the kids. If I press this, it could jeopardize his job, and it's not like I could just step in and do his job. Plus, I'm not sure I'm ready to return to work yet, as both of our kids are still at home for most of the day. So, do I make any other moves and risk my marriage and my family's income, or forget about this? 888-973-5476. Ursula, you have to bat first.
Okay, so this reaction is to one action that he took, and she just assumed that he was having something with someone who works at her family's company.
Right.
Do I get that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, I wouldn't jump to that conclusion, but it sounds like she was coming in already feeling insecure.
Okay.
And so the first thing I would do is have that critical conversation, that crucial conversation that so many people have a difficult time doing, which is, hey, you know, this is what I witnessed and this is how it made me feel. Can we talk about this? And give him a chance to explain whatever it is. If that explanation is not enough, then you can decide whether you're going to make it a bigger thing. But I would start with having that simple conversation of what's going on. This is how I feel about it. You know, a lot of people react, and a lot of times this will happen when you've got young kids at home. Your whole world revolves around being at home, which I think is a beautiful thing. But the reality is you miss that what's going on outside of the home for a lot of people. And I think that she has some insecurities that need to be worked through. But before she jumps to any conclusions, I would have that conversation first before you escalate it into something that now jeopardizes his entire career.
Yeah, good stuff.
I think your gut, for most people, you see your husband pull away with the hand in the cookie jar look on his face from another woman, and I guess I've never thought about this really extensively, but how many people have dealt with a situation where they haven't brought up something big and important, a betrayal in their relationship, because they have nowhere to go. They don't have the means to. They decide to just sweep it under the carpet, ignore it, because got kids. It's been 10 years since I've been working. You gotta find out your safety net, collect your evidence if you can find evidence, and make a plan. But don't bring things up until you're ready to make your exit if you truly believe that they are cheating and that's a red line for you.
Sweeping statement coming up. Here we go. Sweeping statement. Women are done in a relationship way before they tell you. Sweeping statement. Women are done in a relationship way before they tell you. Men, we might be done and we might find out yesterday. Women, they are setting up an exit strategy. They have known for a few years. So this situation where she shows up to the job and she sees him pull away, her gut is telling her something. There's something else that has happened too that she's just not bringing up. And right now, you notice how she says, I'm not ready to go back to work yet. So financially, we're not there. I don't want to jeopardize his job. There are a lot of people, Ursula, especially women. Women are very understanding of finances, right? So they're not going to make a move. Men play checkers. Women play chess. They are planning a move. Okay, I see what you're doing there, but you know what? I need to make sure that these kids last another 2-3 years before they graduate high school. This is why some of y'all got friends. You ever notice you got those friends that break up with each other after the folks leave the house? That's why.
They stayed together just for the kids.
They stayed there together because women know before you know.
See, I think there are a lot of women who are still blindsided.
True.
I think there are a lot of men who do check out. So I'm not willing to jump onto that sweeping statement.
You don't want that sweeping statement?
No. But I think
women are done
for sure
before
she
they
needs
say
to listen to her gut and then have that conversation, deep conversation.
Trust your boy. Trust your boy. Sweeping statement, do you agree? Women are done before they tell you.
They're 3 steps ahead.
Nick!
I don't think it's a completely fair reaction to see him talking with a coworker at your family's company in a certain way. Maybe we don't have all the details, but if I'm the husband with the relationship and probably his job status at stake, I'm saying it's nothing to her keeping it on the down low if you're playing a game with her.
Tell me something good.
Luckily, I'm not in his shoes and would never get into this mess in the first place, but I don't want to jump to conclusions either. It could be nothing.
Jesus came in. By the way, Jesus, there's a lot of your text messages. You missed the mark, but boy, you was on to something to this one, Jesus. Jesus says marriages didn't last longer in the past because things were better. They lasted longer because back then, a lot of women didn't have options. You agree with that one, Ursula?
Sure.
100%.
For lack of time.
Wait a minute, Ursula. Text messages coming through. You see, they agreeing with the sweeping statement.
The last time I made a sweeping statement, I got in trouble. I'm sticking to my guns.
All right, everybody. Chef, you got to bail us out, man. Today
has
has
been
been
a heavy show.
A heavy show.
But can I just say something? And I look at this as we are family. You sharing your deepest, most inner thoughts and emotions has been healing for a lot of people on our text line right now.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Thank you all for sharing because it feels like I'm not alone with this topic. So thank you. Agree to disagree next. Gee Ursula.
Tell me that you love me, yeah. Tell me something good.
Join in on the conversation by sending a text to 888-973-5476. That's 888-973-KIRO.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at amazonbusiness.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Making an Impact, sponsored by Granger. Ashley Crossan has just been named 2025 National Teacher of the Year for her impact on students. Who does she give the credit for this honor?
The kids are amazing. Like I don't have to do much because they come in, they show up, and they make the job easy.
For the ones who get it done, Granger offers professional-grade supplies and solutions, made for every industry and backed by product experts. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by.
My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin today. It isn't clear if there was any progress on ending the war in Ukraine. Stacey Lynn reports.
The president posted on Truth Social he felt the 2-hour call went very well. He says Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations towards a ceasefire and, more importantly, an end to the war. The conditions, he says, will be negotiated between the two parties, adding that Russia wants to do large-scale trade with the United States when this catastrophic bloodbath is over.
CBS's Elizabeth Palmer on the difficulty of dealing with Putin.
Basically, it's not clear that he is serious about ending the war. The White House must have serious doubts at this stage. Respected military analysts think that the problem for Putin is that he faces a dangerous political moment for himself and his government once the war comes to an end.
The Supreme Court today allowed the Trump administration to strip the legal protections of 350,000 Venezuelans, which could permit deportations. Former President Biden is reviewing treatment options with his doctors after his diagnosis of aggressive prostate cancer. Willie James Inman has the reaction from political leaders.
From Republicans and Democrats really expressing their sorrow and sadness about this diagnosis, but also at the same time wishing the former president a speedy and successful recovery.
Israel allowed aid into Gaza today, as Elaine Cobb reports.
The UN says the first aid trucks in nearly 3 months have been allowed into Gaza, but it says that aid is just a drop in the ocean. Today, the World Health Organization said 2 million people in Gaza are starving. More than 50 people were killed today as Israel continued bombing.
House Speaker Mike Johnson acknowledges there is still work to do as Republicans struggle to push ahead with the president's budget bill. Caitlin Huey Burns is on Capitol Hill.
Speaker Mike Johnson says he wants a full vote on the floor this Thursday, and he can really only afford to lose a couple of votes. So the president is starting to apply that pressure. Now, even if this bill passes the House, it still has to go through the U.S. Senate, where one Republican over there compared it to the Titanic.
Parts of the country facing severe weather again today. Many are still digging out from tornado damage in hard-hit Kentucky.
I'm going to be out here for weeks and months trying to help build back lives of people that I love, that I care about.
We're all blessed just to be alive.
19 people were killed in that state. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A mass shooting in Seattle. The story coming up at first from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. In Tumwater, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 northbound at Tumwater Boulevard. I'm seeing backups right around Tumwater Historic Park, just right in the area. In Seattle, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 southbound at Boylston Avenue. You're jammed up a bit through the city. Also, there's a very realistic training involving a fire rig on the Ship Canal Bridge. That's going to happen until 1 this afternoon. Travel time's nearly normal right now after a morning of rain delays. Travel time Federal Way to Seattle, 29 minutes. That's still about 5 longer than usual. Renton to Bellevue, 24. Everett to Seattle, 18. Right about on target. Traffic brought to you by Seattle Sports. Download the Seattle Sports app to stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle police are searching for a motive and suspects in a shooting that left 3 people dead and 1 injured in Pioneer Square early Saturday. This witness tells KIRO 7 TV.
I just heard rapid gunshot fires, like it just happened rapidly. Brrr. Bah, 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 bah. And then it was over just like that.
The 4th victim is hospitalized. In Federal Way, an 18-year-old is dead and an 11-year-old injured after a shooting. KIRO 7 TV's Deborah Horn has details.
Early Saturday morning, neighbors say they could hear arguing, then rapid gunfire. This neighbor says she came out once the shooting stopped. The teenager then still alive.
She was saying, hey, I can't breathe.
Cell phone video shows Federal Way police arriving. They ran over to the man. Medics soon followed.
Pumping and pumping and pumping for 20 minutes, trying CPR.
By then, it emerged a stray bullet had struck an 11-year-old neighbor as he lay in bed.
The child is hospitalized. The shooter is on the loose. Starting today, traffic will be restricted outside Seattle's Washington Middle School. This follows the death of a student in March. The 12-year-old girl was struck and killed by an unaccompanied car that rolled down a hill. KIRO 7 TV reports road crews will block South Weller Street and 20th Place South between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. on school days. Buses and pedestrians will be allowed through. Yesterday marked 45 years since the deadly eruption of Mount St. Helens. Diane Murphy jumped in her car with her daughter to escape the falling ash.
As I started off, it came sheeting down. The black cloud came over. It became as black as night. It was pouring down so hard you couldn't see the road.
57 people died. The resulting lahar, or mudslide, covered 185 miles. The FAA is investigating after 2 Alaska Airlines planes clipped wings while being pushed on the tarmac at SeaTac Saturday. Alaska tells KIRO 7 TV ground tugs were moving the jets at the time. No one injured, but passengers had to switch to new planes. The Mariners completed a clean sweep of the San Diego Padres over the
West News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
What's up, everybody? It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Monday, May 19th. Ursula, do I blame you for today's show? Because it has been a heavy show.
Well, I think it's been heavy, but I hope it's been partially healing, or maybe opening up the possibility of healing for a lot of people, including yourself.
Yeah.
And if you want to know what we're talking about, I would start with our first segment, 906. If you missed any part of that, please listen to our podcast. Gee, you had some messages to the Black community in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just so important to hear you speak about something that maybe is just not talked about enough openly. It's talked about behind closed doors or when the mic is off.
Right.
But I thought it was really important given the 3 young lives lost over the weekend at Pioneer Square.
Yep.
All victims in their 20s and someone who opened fire who is still on the run right now.
Sure.
And then at 10 o'clock, we talked to a bouncer. If you missed that, he had some important messages. Again, check out our podcast if you missed any part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 10:30, we were talking about parents. And you shared about that.
Mm.
And I think I'm just going to let you keep speaking today because you've been sharing your heart. And I think it's just so important to hear.
But when this happens, Ursula, and you prepared other stuff on the show and we don't get to,
I'm all good.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? I'd rather do this.
All right. Chef, take it easy on us. Agree to disagree. Brought to you by Gardner Roofing and Gutters.
One of these days, we just got to take off the gloves. Just really go at it.
You need some cotton candy right now, G? Little fluff?
Yes, we
do.
Yes,
All right, let's do it. Seattle City Council member Dan Strauss is on a crusade. His number one priority, his personal mission on how to make Seattle great again, is to protect your ears. His hearing protection ordinance, G, would require music venues to provide hearing protection earplugs for free or less than $1, or the clubs would face fines. What do you think about requiring loud places to have earplugs available for everyone?
You know, look, the Gen X part of me wants to say, oh my goodness, this is dumb. But the real side of me, considering my left ear, I can barely hear in it today, considering that my Apple Watch tells me when the noise environment has been at a certain level for so long, actually, I think he might be onto something. I think we do need to do a better job of protecting our hearing, or else it's, What'd you say? Okay. I don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing, at 35 years old.
You're right. We need to protect our hearing. But in the grand scheme of things,
yeah,
is this the most important thing when we're talking about 3 people shot to death in Pioneer Square? Okay, and I know it doesn't have to be either or.
Right.
But I just look at this in the scheme of priorities, this one doesn't seem to rise to the occasion. Not to mention, is it the nightclub or the club that should be responsible for bringing or offering earplugs? Or how about you take the responsibility? And if you know you're going to go to a concert or a nightclub where the music's going to be loud, how about you bring your own earplugs? How about personal responsibility?
Sometimes government has to help you out.
No.
Same with the seatbelts.
This is one of those
same with seatbelts. Same with you can't drink and drive and all that. Sometimes we need the government to help us.
I mean, it makes a certain amount of sense, right? Like at some adult parties, they'll just have bowls of prophylactics there available. You know, if you're going to be at risk of something, the venue should have it available, Ursula.
Oh,
and is it really too much? What? Is it really too much of an ask to just have a bowl of earplugs available for people?
Because
you don't always think about
people
it.
People take handfuls of them, and then it's going to be another expense for these businesses that
and
are already on the
they're going to go
margin.
under. It's just one more thing. It's the drip, drip, drip of taxes and minimum wages, and now they want earplugs.
Can I ask my
personal responsibility? Those things are cheap. Just plug one in.
Can I ask my conservative brothers and sisters something?
Of course.
Are these the things that you all say, like Democrats worried about? Because is this dude a
Yes.
Yeah. mean, I actually think it's.
I'm going to guess that our conservative listeners, most of them, are going to agree with me at this point. Personal responsibility.
I mean, it's a good idea.
The last time I went to a concert at T-Mobile Park, man, my ears were ringing. Is it their problem? No, I should have.
You forgot, didn't you?
I should have brought some earplugs because I knew the last time I went to the concert, it was too loud then, too. And by the way, I am also losing hearing on my left ear.
Well, how about this then? Why not just a city ordinance that limits the decibel level of the concerts? Because, I mean, clearly we're exposing people to dangerous levels of noise.
Because then what level are you talking about? Because for some people...
there's very clear rules from CDC, I'm sure, that say, anything over 90 decibels for X amount of time.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And how about the Seahawks Stadium, Dan? You're going to make them provide 70,000 pairs of earbuds every single Sunday, or every other Sunday?
The Blue Angels are flying. Uh-oh, Dan, are you going to give us some earplugs?
Can we get a muffler? Can we get a muffler on the afterburners, please?
One of these days, we just got to take off the
Play that again, apropos of nothing. All right, let's move on down to Texas, where there is a school that's handed over the reins of the teachers to robots. At the Alpha School, students spend just 2 hours a day in class guided by an AI tutor that teaches to their learning level. The rest of the school day is spent building real-world skills like public speaking, teamwork, financial literacy. The teachers are still there, but they're more guides and proctors than the actual instructors. What do you think about that model, Ursula?
I'm not a big fan. I like human teachers. I don't like the idea of giving that up and then having kids watch another screen and then relying on artificial intelligence to see things that I believe are still best dealt with a human. And so I'm not ready to buy into that quite yet.
AI teachers?
Love it.
Gee's distracted by AI.
No,
Say
man,
what? You need some hearing protection?
Enterprise Rent-A-Car hit me up and say I didn't pay one of the tolls when I was on the road. But anyway, yes, I love this. I think I told you all before. I love the idea of, I think our school curriculum for years has just been a certain type of way. Kids go to school, 7 hours they're in school. You're supposed to sit down, and for those who are like me, have a hard time sitting there for that long of time, listening to this teacher and just having to sit for 7 hours. And Gen X and baby boomers, y'all know sometimes, remember when the teacher would hold recess over your head? Sometimes we go a month without recess because we weren't doing the right things.
What on earth were you doing in the classroom?
Now, today, recess is mandatory, but back then they used to hold recess over your head. So my point, let's give this kids different ways of learning. And when I saw this article, the kids was happy with the headphones on. Now, even you got to agree with this, Ursula.
I think some kids would learn well that way. And I, again, will go with, I would still rather have human teachers, but aided with some AI to help take away some of the other responsibilities that can be done well with AI without losing that human connection. I don't want more screens, more noise input without that human connection.
By the way, we in trouble, y'all. Let's be real. This whole AI thing, and I saw something over the weekend, Ursula, and this guy said, this is 2025. Our world will be so much different by 2030, the same way our world was different from the late 1800s to 1950. What used to take 50 plus years to change will now change within 5 years. So I think I'm going to go ahead and actually switch my opinion and throw it to you, because if we start little by little letting kids be taught by AI, that means in 2032, we're going to straight up have half the school being taught by AI. Matter of fact, some of the Microsoft folks right now are dealing with exactly just that. Some of them are working on AI, and as they work on AI, AI is the reason why the layoffs are happening.
Again, how about use AI to improve working conditions for teachers so that they can do more learning time and connecting with the kids and not having to deal with a lot of the other stuff like correcting papers. Use AI.
That's exactly what this does.
Yes.
I think. And to a certain extent, kids are already doing this. It might not be an AI tutor, but so my son, he's in elementary school. They spend probably 2 hours a day on, math and reading stuff. And they work with a program that is specifically tailored to their level and teaches to their level. I think we're all thinking of this old school model where the teacher stands up and they're writing the algebra equations on the blackboard when 10 kids in the class aren't even, they're still working on long division.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another 10 kids in class
That's
who
right.
are ready for pre-calculus. So I think that this is actually an excellent way to free up time for teachers, because then you have time for the teacher to deal with the social emotional needs of the kids in the classroom who are misbehaving.
Yes.
And you're going to hear this a lot from me in the months and years to come, and that is there are two models of thinking about AI. I'm going to apply this to companies. The first is, hey, we can save a bunch of money by firing people and replacing them with AI. Or there's the model that we can have our employees be 10 times more effective and have 10 times the output, and we can improve the company and empower people with tools rather than using it to replace them.
And
I think this is
their lives
Yes.
and improve others' lives versus trying to eliminate jobs.
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
Before we move on from this topic, y'all know me. I always like to ask questions to make the topic a little bit more spicy. Here's the first question. Can you think of some of your best teachers that you've ever had? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Hold that thought. Now, can you think of some of the worst teachers you've ever had?
Yes.
Can AI do a better job than some of those worst teachers that you've ever had? Because let me start first. I had one English teacher who, now looking back, was an absolute drunk. And every morning he would come in and he'd bring in the VCR and he'd bring in the television and we watch episodes of Doogie Howser. Now, I am telling you all a real story in military school. Seriously.
Oh, wow.
Straight up. And I know I'm not the only one. Some of you right now, when I ask you about your worst teacher you ever had, you have stories too.
Yes.
And you know that AI would be way better than some of these awful teachers. And by the way, these terrible teachers still exist. Now, I know it's popular to talk. We love teachers. We do. But
Sure, there's always some bad apples.
There's some bad teachers out here, y'all.
Okay, G, to your point, though, I think what separates a good teacher from a bad teacher for the vast majority of kids is not necessarily their instructional skill. It's their ability to see that child for who they are and to connect with them. And it's a really big impediment to connecting with kids and having enough time for them is being overwhelmed with busy work.
It's true.
If you have so much, it's the same thing with doctors, right? They spend 80% of their time doing charting and notes
They hate all
as opposed to
chart
talking
notes.
with
Yes.
patients.
Yes.
And so if you can take some of that burden off of people,
Yes.
I mean, gee, I think about it in terms of myself as a parent. I'm lucky enough to live with my parents. We're financially stable. If I was working 2 jobs and stressed all the time, I would be an exponentially worse parent because I would be stretched so far and so thin. I wouldn't have the time, the patience to actually be there for them and with them.
I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of the problems that we're dealing with today, when you all are talking about, what's happening in homes, and I know you guys go quick right to the father. Oh, what about the fathers? Stop taking some of these lazy narratives, because what Chef just pointed on, there are a lot of people that are dealing with time poverty. And what I mean by that is Ursula, you have parents that are working 3 jobs to make ends meet. And no, they're not the parent that they should and could be because they're having to work to provide.
Right.
And so they're not there. So
Can I give you some real talk? A couple years ago, before I got on anxiety medication, I was struggling as a parent, and Matthew he's a really
Spirited.
He's a hard child, and I don't want to get into diagnoses and stuff, but it was to the point where I would be yelling at him every day, and he would get up in my face, and I realized if it continued like that, we would be physically fighting by the time he was 10 years old. And I was like, I have to do something about this. And that was me being in a good place financially, having a loving wife, living with my parents, having support. And I think about that, and I realize, you know what? If I was in a worse situation, I was a single dad, I was so stressed about money. He was acting up even more at school because, he was dealing with so much crap at home.
Right.
That could very easily be an abusive relationship. And the only difference is circumstances.
Yes.
It's
and
not
you recognizing
like,
it.
It's not like I'm a better parent than that guy in another financial situation with less support. It's just we have different circumstances.
Ursula?
Well, see, again, so just what you've described, though, and thank you for sharing that,
Yeah.
Jeff. I keep looking at AI as, there's going to be dangers involved, and it's going to eliminate a lot. But it's going to be freeing up a lot, too, and it's going to enhance a lot of professions, too, I believe.
Glad you just said that.
Yes.
Because what you just said goes hand in hand with this text right here from the 206. My daughter is a curriculum developer for a very large school district locally. She is responsible for launching tech in the classroom and training teachers. She can't wait for AI as it will help provide consistency.
There you go.
Currently, hit and miss depending upon the quality of the teacher. Just what you just said.
And so for that, it's really promising. But at a future date, we got to talk about regulation or no regulation when it comes to AI, because that's the big topic right now, right?
Is Pandora's box already open with AI?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Ursula, is it TBD? Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
We got a lot, though. We're going to continue some of our top stories, some of the big stories.
Okay. But it's still TBD, though, right?
It is.
Okay. TBD.
We'll give you the best of TBD.
Gee and Ursula. This hour is brought to you by DUI Heroes.
Winners of 3 2025 Regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including feature reporting.
The graffiti along Seattle roadways is the worst I've ever seen it. KIRO News Radio's Nate Connors and I set some parameters. I drove. Every click you hear is Nate counting a tag that defazes the public property you and I pay for.
We thank you. We are the Northwest leading news station because of you, inspiring us every day.
KIRO News Radio on 97.3 FM.
Are you in the market for a new car? Well, you want to buy it sooner than later with everything going on these days. And when you make that big purchase, you want to make sure that you are getting the best value for your hard-earned money. And that is why our family will always choose Carter Subaru. We are repeat customers because at Carter Subaru, your drive always begins with savings. They don't resort to high-pressure sales tactics to force you into buying more than you need. Carter Subaru is a local, family-owned business that our family trusts. They are invested in our community, and treating their customers right is their number one priority. And right now, with over 300 new vehicles in stock, Carter Subaru has the one that you are looking for, including the 2025 Crosstrek or the 2025 Forester with 3.9% APR for 48 months. Shop with the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at their Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 5/31/25.
The first Mariners Fireworks Night is coming up, and we're starting things off with a bang. Be here on Friday, May 30th for our K-Pop Fireworks Show, presented by T-Mobile, after the team takes on the Twins at 7:10.
Jorge Polanco, his second home run of the night. He is absolutely on fire.
Get ready for an epic dance party as we light up the sky with a post-game show powered by the biggest global hits. Fireworks and Mariners baseball. That's two spectacular shows in one unforgettable night.
JP with a flip, and they got him at first base. How in the world?
Visit Mariners.com/fireworks to get your tickets and see the complete lineup of all 6 Mariners Fireworks Nights this summer, including a sing-along show on June 13th and a patriotic palooza on July 3rd. Plus, check out everything else on deck at T-Mobile Park, like 3 straight Mariners value games against the Orioles starting Tuesday, June 3rd. Mariners baseball. Try dance up.
If you've been thinking about surgery or even joint replacement, here's something to consider. Hi, it's Dave Ross. I've talked to over 100 patients of Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, and many of them have told me about life-changing results. Their words, after treatment at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. These are people with severe osteoarthritis, even bone-on-bone, and they're back to hiking, jogging, playing tennis, skiing, golfing, walking up and down stairs, playing with the kids and the grandkids, and they're doing it without pain and without surgery. Dr. Wagner's 60-minute outpatient procedure uses your own stem cells, and because they're your own stem cells, they can help regenerate your own cartilage in your own joints. Dr. Wagner is a board-certified Seattle physician. He has over 30 years of experience, and he's performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. And he's one of the few doing it the right way. So, listen to his patients, and remember, whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before you choose surgery, first see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD. Get the facts, then get back in the game at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, don't neglect maintenance on your vehicle. Keep it safe. At Bucky's Complete Auto, we have you covered with available financing. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
If you're thinking about renovating an attic, spending more time in your sunroom, or building onto your home, a Carrier ductless unit is the perfect solution for climate control. It's efficient, quiet, and incredibly flexible when it comes to installation because there's no ductwork required. It's just one more way we're making your home totally comfortable.
Your local Carrier heating and cooling dealer will improve your home's comfort, air quality, and efficiency. Visit CarrierNorthwest.com to find the expert near you. Carrier, turn to the experts. Cars for Kids, the easy way to donate your car. Donate today and your car can be picked up tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.com or 1-877-CARS4KIDS.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back clear vision. The process was simple and easy. I scheduled my free consultation and discovered I was at the early stage of cataracts and a perfect candidate for RLE. They restored clarity and brightness to my vision like when I was in my 20s, and I'll never need readers again and never develop cataracts. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens are taking RLE surgery to the next level. Call them now at 425-451-2020 or go online to sharp-vision.com, official eye care provider of Sounders FC.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. A possible break in a cold case, live to James Lynch in Tacoma. James?
Heather, Tacoma police are being very tight-lipped about whatever is going on here. Neighbors say since the beginning of this month, they have seen teams, including the FBI and Tacoma police, in this backyard. And now they're digging. 2 facts that we know for sure. One of the most notorious cold cases here in Tacoma is that of then 2-year-old Tika Lewis, who disappeared January 23rd, 1999. It has been assumed she was abducted from the New Frontier bowling alley here in Tacoma. Ironically, and fact number 2, the property where this search is going on is owned by a family with the surname Lewis. We're trying to put together the facts. We are finding more information. We will bring it to you as soon as we have it. For now, reporting live in Tacoma, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, James. Seattle police are investigating after 4 people were shot in Pioneer Square over the weekend. 3 died. A 4th is hospitalized. No word on a motive or suspects. Police Chief Sean Barnes is expected to give an update in half an hour. Starting today, there are new rules for private late-night clubs that operate in the city in an effort to deter violence. CBS's Lindsay Sheldon says the city council recently passed an ordinance.
It requires lounges to be up to date on all city permits, staff at least 2 security guards on site, take steps to ensure people aren't bringing in weapons, and have video surveillance cameras. They'll also need a written safety plan and will need to allow police and other city enforcement officers inside during business hours. Businesses that don't follow these new rules could face fines.
There were 47 shootings connected to late-night venues last year. 4 hardline Republican conservatives last night allowed a House Budget Committee to approve President Trump's package of tax breaks and spending cuts. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns.
A lot of conversations over the weekend between those hardliners and House Republican leaders trying to give them some assurances that the changes that they want could make their way into this bill.
Former President Joe Biden revealing he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer. More from CBS's Willie James Inman.
Not only is this an aggressive form of this disease, it's also a form that will respond well to treatment, according to a statement from the former president's office, and his family is looking at those treatment options.
On Wall Street, the Dow was up 83 points, NASDAQ down 45. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, in the Olympia area, you have a crash at the on-ramp to northbound 101. You're solid on I-5 from 101 to the Hobby Lobby in Lacey. Travel time, Lacey to Olympia, 25 minutes, about 20 longer than typical. Also, there is a training involving a fire rig on the Ship Canal Bridge. That could be a distraction until about 1 this afternoon. Travel times are nearly normal after morning rain delays. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, mechanical needs, stop freaking call Beacon. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies today with highs around 60. It's 57 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. We sure appreciate you hanging out with us. Look how gorgeous this morning is. It started off rainy, and I see it's a little windy, but I see that the sun is shining, at least partially. So I'm happy about that.
Finish this sentence, Ursula.
Okay.
Let me see if you got it.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Hey, son, I see you peeking, but
the sun's not sneaking.
Speaking! Oh, I thought you were going to get it.
I was so close.
I see you peeking, but you're not speaking. All right. What you got for us, Ursula?
Well, how about those Seattle Mariners?
And here's the pitch. Swung on, blasted left field, a rainmaker. It's high, it's deep, it is gone! Cal Raleigh!
Okay, that's pretty phenomenal, first of all. And we need to talk about the significance of Cal Raleigh's latest home run. But after losing 5 out of 6 games at home, the Mariners stormed right back over the weekend. They swept one of the best teams in baseball while on the road. The M's outscored the Padres 15-3 behind 27 innings of stellar pitching, I'm told, and 6 home runs. And that call you heard was Cal Raleigh's 15th. Like, what is he eating? What is happening here? Okay, and I want Nick to weigh in on this. There's only one player in baseball that has more home runs than Cal Raleigh, and that is the guy who gets 700 million. Yes, Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani, yep.
So, I mean, look, can we put this into perspective?
Guess Aaron Judge had the most home runs. But anyways, Cal Raleigh is phenomenal, and I was really encouraged this last week because they had the homestand where they only won 1 game, and you thought, oh, this could be the moment.
Yes.
Maybe they start downsliding, but they come right back on the road, and they sweep the Padres. Now, the question in mind is, with the phenomenal pitching going on right now and the offense clicking, the guys backing up, the guys getting hurt, guys filling in, doing their thing, are they going to keep the train rolling against the team they're facing now, being the worst team in the league, the White Sox? See, this is the moment where the Mariners, they beat a really good team and they bounce back, but I'm still holding my guard because I want to see them still take care of business against teams that they're supposed to take care of business with.
See, you bring up a great point. Do you do better in sports for you? Did you do better when you were challenged and you were playing someone out of your I'll say league or out of your level, or did you like it when you had someone who was a cakewalk?
And Nick brings up a very good point. It is going to be important to see how they handle the White Sox, who are arguably one of the worst teams in baseball outside of Paul Holden's Colorado Rockies. When I played sports, and I think we all can attest to this, right? Sometimes you play down to the competition.
Oh, I hated playing someone in tennis who was so much worse than me.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I couldn't hit a ball.
Yeah.
Because it was all in my head.
Mm-hmm. Ursula, this topic, and I got a little deep on Seattle's morning news with the Mariners, is because baseball and sports is a microcosm of life, right? Sometimes you have a tough thing going on in your life and you battle to get over that adversity and get through that adversity, and you're working hard, you're doing all those things. And then when things are calm and things are cool, then you relax a little bit, right? When if you would have continued with that same intensity, right, continuing on, you would do that much better. And I think with the Mariners right now is, well, I think so far this season, they have done well with consistency because they've won more series than they have lost. That's number one. Number two, they are right now still in first place in the AL West division. So this team is playing first place baseball. They just got to keep it up.
Yeah.
This is May. It's a long season.
It is a
They're
long
gonna continue.
season. But does the ghost of seasons past, maybe with this particular makeup of this team, does it help propel them and make them not give up even when like it started to look like, oh no, here come the Mariners?
So
it seems like this team is responding differently.
Yeah,
and maybe
agree.
with their new manager are responding differently.
But Ursula, how about for you? When you face today's challenges and things like that, do you resort to how things might not have worked in the past?
It's in the back of my mind, but I use it as motivation to prove not only myself differently, but all the doubters differently.
Right. And I think that's where the Mariners are right now. Like there's a lot of people that's like, oh, after the series at home against the Blue Jays, and then against the Yankees, a lot of people, oh, here we go. It's the same old Mariners. Well, the Mariners are like, yeah, but let's take a little road trip. And we'll go down to San Diego, where they were sold out, Ursula, 3 games in a row. And the Ursulas came, they came down there, and the Mariners came down there. The Ursulas.
The ones who just
they came and got it done.
On the bandwagon.
And Brian Wu. How about Brian Wu? Woo!
Well, Ric Flair in there.
So what is the M slogan this year?
I think, next man up, like I said before, because they're still playing with guys who are, backing up others who are hurt right now. Like the pitching staff isn't statistically as good as they were last year. With Logan Gilbert out, they have Logan Evans filling in the other guy. I mean, Luis Castillo is not quite as good as he used to be last year, but he's getting there. And I try and remember what Gee was saying earlier about you got to enjoy baseball this season day by day and not get too worried about the big picture, because the way I see it, if you were to take it at the off season and say mid-May, end of May, we were in first place in the AL West, I would say that's exceeding my expectations to where I thought the Mariners were going to be in the off season right now. So that's the mindset I'm keeping, is they're better than what I thought they were going to be right now.
Okay, speaking of mindsets though.
What's that?
Okay, let's talk. How much did Cal Raleigh get? Like, what's his contract?
$100 million.
Okay, and
like 3 or 4 years.
Weren't there some folks saying, oh, no, it's like you've got that big, fat salary, and is he going to perform up to the expectations of that big, fat salary?
Right.
Because that's kind of happened with some others who maybe didn't live up to the expectations.
Right.
But, man, he's beating them, I think.
He is outplaying that contract that they gave him. And let's bring this to real life, Ursula.
Yeah.
Do you think when people in real life get a fat raise and are making good money?
If it's guaranteed money, do I think they chill and take it easy?
Yeah.
I think there could be a tendency to do that.
That's what I'm saying. Or do you work harder? Do people work harder after they gotten that raise?
Depends on your work ethic.
Well, some people, take their foot off the gas, but I also don't think that you get to that level of expertise in that level of excellence without having a high motor, right? Something else that drives you. Like, I think it's more likely to happen to a guy who, hits the lottery in the NFL draft and has never been paid before in his life than somebody who's been working his way up, getting paid along the way, got a good rookie contract.
Matthew in Tacoma, by the way, your text is making me going to ask his last question before I go. Thank you, Matthew. I have a question, Ursula.
Uh-huh.
And Chef and Nick, all of you. When your kids are growing up, do you let your kids win anything? Was there ever a time? I know you're a Scrabble. You're a Scrabble savant. So
Okay, yes, I am. And Scrabble, no, I don't let anyone win.
Okay, but
Okay,
video games,
but however,
basketball, baseball.
Did when they were really young?
You let
when
them
they
win?
were really young. Yes.
And my sons know not one time.
Not once?
I would
Even when they're little.
I would crush them.
Oh my gosh. Even when they're little.
Yes.
Then they physically can't.
Yes.
Oh my
video
word, no.
on video games,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
I would crush them.
Yes.
And then guess what? They start getting better and better and better and better. So I just thought I'd ask that. Nick, what's your philosophy on that?
I think my dad would go easy on me a little bit when I was younger, but he would never let me full on win. He would try and keep it competitive.
Yes.
I think I'd do the same thing.
Gee, part of the reason I let my son win sometimes, not often, is because he's going to be taller than me by the time he's probably 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And so I want him to be nice to me.
You're
He's
protecting
better
your
than me at a
future.
lot of this stuff.
All right, everybody. Fun show. 11 o'clock hour has been it's been a little easier, less therapeutic. All right. Text messages, feedback, and then we'll have Ursula's words to live by.
Why local news matters.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey is here.
So in April, we did a story on this rehab facility called Pushing Boundaries. They've helped thousands of people recovering from brain injuries on the brink of closing shop after months of dwindling donations. And just days later, they started getting donations and they raised $200,000 they needed thanks to our listeners to stay open.
KIRO News Radio.
We've got some great listeners out there.
On 97.3 FM. And download the KIRO News Radio app.
If you are sick of looking at your grimy old tub and avoiding it at all costs, it is time to do what our family did and call my friends at Bathfitter. Why Bathfitter, you ask? You know I love to do my research, and this is what I found out before we had Bathfitter create that gorgeous bathroom for my mother-in-law's house. At Bathfitter, you are not getting a cookie-cutter solution. You get to design your own bath, from the walls and tubs to the handles, the doors, the colors. Their designer will help you create that perfect bath or shower that perfectly fits your needs and your style. You can even test it out yourself at designyourownbath.com. Bathfitter's quality is truly unmatched. They use the very best materials. They will take laser-precise measurements. What does all that mean for you? It is that you will end up with a bath that is built to last. They have more than 40 years experience, and it's no wonder they have more than 2 million happy customers, including me. And right now, they're offering 0% interest for 24 months. So now really is the perfect time to get that new dream bath. Call Bathfitter today or visit bathfitternw.com.
Swing and a miss. Strike three. That is strikeout number 7 for Brian Wu.
Home. Home is where you get to cook things up just the way you like.
Swing and a miss.
Where you're never afraid to get in the kitchen.
He got him. A huge strikeout from Logan Gilbert. It's 7th tonight.
Where you serve. Carve. Put some extra mustard on it.
There's the fist pump by Luis Castillo. Strikeout number 10 on the night.
And get a little spicy.
Set a heater at 100. Back-to-back strikeouts for Andres Munoz.
Now you're cooking with gas. Mariners baseball at T-Mobile Park. Welcome home.
The next Mariners homestand gets started with a 3-day Randy Arozarena bobblehead giveaway against the Nationals, May 27th through May 29th. All 3 games are Mariners value games, which means you can score seats for as little as $11. Go to mariners.com/value games to lock in your tickets today.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Now more than ever, you want to buy your next vehicle from a dealership you trust. For me, that's Carter Subaru. Ursula Reutin here. Right now, you can get the 2025 Crosstrek or the 2025 Forester with 3.9% APR for 48 months. Shop the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at their Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 5/31/25.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys. And I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk. A wireless company that actually stands for something.
Mini split systems give you efficient zoned heating and cooling comfort for less. Call Home Comfort Alliance for a free consultation and easy 18-month zero-interest financing. Visit homecomfortalliance.com today.
It's Gee and Ursula. It's now time for those good old text messages where we take a few of the text messages and we kind of respond and talk about it. What do you got, Ursula?
Well, on the topic of needing a new airport, because you were just exasperated after your last trip this weekend, Kevin in Seattle says, Gee, SEAOMG. I haven't been there in a long time, but I picked up my daughter yesterday, and it's terrible. Uh-oh.
Elaine in Puyallup says, we used the Dallas airport twice last week, and it was fantastic. SEA is absolutely terrible.
Okay. I know, again, it's going through a remodel right now. I don't want it. It's so bad. Okay, lying on your resume. Destiny in Seattle says, my teenage friend worked at the dump in Central Oregon. Her job was scrapping rust off iron all summer long. On her resume, we came up with oxidation removal specialist.
G says the biggest lie on a resume for Gen X was being proficient at Excel. 360 says, has G even opened that brand new MacBook he bought yet?
Wait, has she opened up News Boss yet?
I did.
It's open.
Hold on.
Okay.
Whoever you are, 360, that, you know what? That's cold. But that MacBook right now is up. Right now, I'm going to tell you where it is. And I know this because I had a shoehorn before I was leaving out of town. I had a shoehorn fall, and I went to go pick it up, and it was right next to my MacBook that's under the dresser.
How many times do you use that thing, G?
Twice. And I paid and I paid $3,500 for it.
So it was $1,750 for each, $1,750 for each.
No, it's
usage.
It's seriously collecting dust.
I'll give you $5. Best I can do.
$5 for it?
Yeah, for sure.
Oy.
Jeez.
Okay, former President Biden's team covered up his condition. We talked about both situations now, prostate cancer and also cognitive decline. 425 says, my whole career was in healthcare, specifically working with Alzheimer's patients, which my mother also had. And while Biden isn't as quick as he used to be, I don't see the signs of dementia with him. Sometimes it's just getting old, and I find it offensive when untrained people make diagnoses without the proper context. I'll take sick Joe any day over the supposedly healthy person that we have in office today. Let's change it up a little bit.
Ursula wanted to read the last one, taking care of parents. That's the last one that we kind of talked about.
Okay, well, actually, I want to, I'm going to squeeze in one other because Sharon in Seattle is a doctor, and this is regarding prostate issues. And she said, prostate issues, including low-grade cancers, are often managed by watchful waiting, as the majority will not evolve into aggressive status. Most men with prostate issues die of something else before that aggressive state. I would guess that President Biden was being monitored regularly, and then the advanced state came up suddenly. Okay. Do you want me to read the occupational? So the Jane and Graham is talking about taking care of parents. We asked that at 10:30.
Yeah.
I'm an occupational therapist currently working in home health. I spend my days going to see seniors in their homes, and many are not safe. They cannot manage in their homes any longer or even care for themselves adequately. There are many of them whose adult kids live in other states and are not able to help. More heartbreaking are the ones who have kids who do live nearby who don't help at all. As mandatory healthcare reporters, sometimes we have to report the senior to the government, and maybe things might change. It's Adult Protective Services. Maybe things might change if adult kids knew they could be reported to APS and held liable for neglect of their parent.
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
All right, Ursula, time for your words to live by.
It's about responsibility. The moment you take responsibility for everything in your life is the moment that you can change anything in your life.
You do a lot of words to live by.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it is so true. I'm talking when you get to the point, and I say it simple all the time, when you can use your thumb instead of your index finger, that's when you will change your life.
Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do.
Yep. Brother Nick, what's up, man?
Well, I was caught off guard with who had lying resumes, hearing younger ones more guilty than their parents turning gray. But I don't buy the fact that they were more honest than us. I know they too cut some corners, so I don't want to hear a fuss. And if you're so flustered as to start a fight about this talk, I'll be sliding in my earplugs heading to another block. After all, I got to do what the city wants with my ears, okay? Got to protect myself.
Good stuff.
So how much hearing have you lost in that one ear?
That was bad. I told you where it started when I used to stand next to the cannon crew in military school, and the cannon would go off, and I would be right there, and my left ear was just painful. So I'm at attention, so it's not like I can close my ears. To this day, I don't know how much hearing, but it ain't that good. Huh?
Yes.
What'd you say?
Yeah. So many of us who've worked in radio for a long time, we have hearing issues.
Do you?
Same. Look at how I'm wearing my headphones.
I was going to ask that. So
Same.
My left hearing.
Left one's done.
Yep.
My wife has to walk on my right side and sit on my right side when we're eating. Otherwise, I can't hear.
So real quick, you guys, I'm just noticing something. Wait, in 5.5 years, you guys don't use both headphones?
No.
You take one off?
Because I can't hear out of it anyways.
Yes. Well, I can hear. So I use my headphone is on my hearing, the ear that is hearing impaired.
Yeah.
Slightly, not huge. But the other one, I like to hear in real life how things sound.
So that's why when I say something to you, you can hear me.
Yes.
Thanks, Ursula. Thanks, Chef. Thanks, Nick. Jake and Spike Show coming in next. Appreciate you for listening. Love you for that. And as always, be kind.
Hope you have as much fun as we have. So long, everybody.
Damage is done, so I guess I believe in. The damage is done, so I guess I believe in. The damage damages done, so I guess I'll be
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with XFi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure is successfully